Next on America's Day at the Races, graded stakes place, but yet to break through in a stake. LeCullen, off for over a year, tries to win off the bench against a field full of stakes winners. Multiple stakes winner Therapist makes his third start off the layoff. Get the Belmont Turf Specialist, making 5 for 6 on his favorite course. And we'll preview this weekend's Stars and Stripes program and the Turf Triple, the Trinity and Tiara Series. His newspaper of record gets back to work and tries to break through for her first victory of her 3-year-old campaign. Welcome to the show. America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Great weather on hand for this Wednesday program as we kick off the final week of this spring meet here at Belmont Park before we head upstate to Saratoga, opening day next Thursday. We're looking forward to it, but we're going to close out strong here at Belmont, including this weekend with the Stars and Stripes. Greg Wolf alongside 4-time Major League All-Star Paul LoDuca. Back from vacation, Andy Serling, New York Racing Association handicapper. We want to hear about it later in the show. LeCullen in this feature race today, coming off a lengthy layoff. Clearly the horse to beat, but the bench and the time off a concern.
Absolutely. I mean, he is the best horse in the race, best turf horse in this race. I don't think there's any real question of that, but it's a long layoff, and I think another real question in the race is race dynamics, and it's interesting watching this race. Bricks and Mortar's down the rail. This is the last time Bricks and Mortar lost a race. What also concerns me is a lack of pace in this race, and a horse like Noble Indy who could be controlling up front.
Yeah, the points you make are all valid. They really are. And the other part about this is if LeCullen really wasn't actually was on the outside there, probably wouldn't have run second. Looked like the other horse had a little bit of trouble. You still can't take anything away from the effort. It was a very, very good effort. But I thought it was a wide open group. Murad could win the race. I thought Noble Indy had a shot. And I wouldn't take the Maryland shipper too lightly. I know it's Chevy and Toledo in the irons. A lot of people don't know who he is. But I think that horse has got an outside look as well.
Yeah, he forced the pass. You're talking about the two. He actually was right behind a horse who's a former Grade 1 winner last start and a horse who would go on to win in his next start and win the Grade 2 King Edward.
I'm still trying to figure out where Force the Pass's win in the Belmont Derby 4 years ago came from.
Right.
Because he's never run back to what was a sensational effort that
was
day.
a giant field too, right?
4 years ago.
Yeah.
Get signed up, started, play along with NYRA Bets, $200 new member bonus. That went away quickly. And here are our track conditions by Piranha. Piranha Fly Spray, the preferred fly spray at Belmont Park. Piranha on pests gone fast and firm for today's action. We're going to kick things off with race 4 coming up here. 4 through 8 is what we'll bring you this afternoon. And it kicks off the NYRA Bets Late Pick 5. It is the first time in history it is open to everybody, not just NYRA Bets members, not just people residing in the state of New York. Everybody can get in on this nationwide, and it begins here in race number 4, 6 furlongs on the turf, $32,000 claiming race.
Yeah, and I had a ticket available on the site, and 1257 to start the race. I like Annie Rocks a little bit, a Dixie Twister, the 1. Dangerous Women, to me, the 5 is the longest shot to me that I think that has a shot in here, 1, 5, and 7. Race number 5, I'm going to go deep in there with a bunch of first-time starters. I'm going to take my shot at race number 6. I like the 4 in there. They're a little bit. Smile Brian, there's some pace in there. Smile Brian also can show some pace from Grand Motion. Hoping that Joe Rosario stays hot. 2, 3, 5, 6. You have to add Murad, the 4. I was going to, and then I just didn't want the ticket to be that much more. And then the last race, I'm taking my shot with Talent Scout. Of course, it's taking a giant drop. But, you know, Linda doesn't stick a Bug Boy on. She sticks Irad Ortiz Jr. on for 16. So I think that horse is well meant to win the last.
Yeah, that one for Linda Rice was just monstrous in his debut, and then he was gone for 2 years. We'll talk more about him. As we get later to that 8th race, we're getting set for the opening leg, I should say, of this Late Pick 5, 127,000 plus the pool. Let's check in with Maggie Wolfendale for more.
And it looks as though Linda Rice holds a pretty strong hand to kick off this Late Pick 5 here in today's 4th race. As we'll take a look, though, at the one that's coming first off the claim. And while I like Annie Rocks, I just thought Hop on the Bus Gus showed a lot of improvement from that first start off the bench physically to this second start now. Her coat didn't look that great going back to May, and now she's completely dappled out. It looks so rich and hydrated. And two, she's carrying more weight and more muscle mass too. You know, it's not as if she looks heavier, it's as if she looks stronger. So I like that about her here today, and I like the warm-up she got as well beneath Irad Ortiz. Now moving on to number 6, Pure Praise, who's only had 3 starts on the turf, both of which, or all 3 of which, were going longer, around 2 turns, a mile distance at Tampa. And I'm intrigued by her going 6 furlongs here on the turf course. Obviously, she's a bit better on it. She looks like a turf horse. And 2, the last time I had seen her, which was last year, she was a bit of a nervous type, and she just seems a lot more relaxed now. Now, whether that bodes well for her going a shorter distance on the turf, we'll find out. But physically, she looks as though she's capable of this turn back. As you can see, she's a bit more built downhill, bigger hind end, bigger hindquarters. I like that with my sprinters. As number 5, Dangerous Woman, Paul brought up as a bit of a long shot. She's a big turn back in here. She's been going primarily a mile and a 16th out of town, and physically, she's actually built more like a sprinter. She's wide, she's compact with that shorter back. So, and 2, she's sharp. I didn't love the way she warmed up, but then again, sometimes turf horses on the main track won't warm up as well until they get back out on their preferred surface, the turf, when they can really push off of that. So I thought she was a long shot to take a look at, Greg.
Maggie, thank you. So an 18-to-1 shot that she's going to give a look to in here. And she was talking about the 6 Pure Praise as well. You know, they made the switch with Pure Praise just a couple starts back to turf. In 3rd try on the grass, she won. And even though she didn't win sprinting on turf, she's won sprinting in the past.
Right. The question with her is she clearly improves a turf horse. So the question, if you like her, is, well, I think she'll be a better sprinter, and now she's going to get a chance to sprint in the turf. The problem is she's 5-2. Does she? I found this race impossible. I think she's a horrible bet at 5-2, even though I absolutely would use her if I was playing the race. But 5-2 is a tough price to take on her. 3-1 now.
She's one of those horses that it's a tough read, but yeah, she improved on the turf, and her speed improved on the turf. So now you would think on 6 furlongs it's going to improve more. Now, who does she have to beat to the lead?
The 8's going to lead. No, the 8's going to be in front. I ended up picking the 8 Awesome Quick. I don't trust her at all. She's lost some races she never should have lost going long with easy leads. The fact that the 7 Hop on the Bus Gus, the 1 or the 2 for Linda Rice, is a considerably shorter price than the 2 Annie Rocks. Even though Annie Rocks looks like the better horse on paper, that's a big negative for Annie Rocks in my opinion.
I'm surprised the 1's that favorite too, but hey, I mean,
4 horses did win last time. I don't like her.
4 horses coming out of the same race, and I like what you're thinking, Andy. You're taking the horse who actually finished the worst of that bunch, but it was first off a lengthy layoff. Maybe just got a little tired trying to make the lead in there, and maybe a little more fit today.
She's the speed. The problem is that race 5 back when she finished 2nd by a head. I mean, look at the pace.
Yeah.
If she couldn't, I mean, a crawl was faster than that pace, and she still lost. But I'm at a loss in this race because the horse that I liked was Amanda Lane, the 3 who scratched.
Opening leg of the late pick 5 sequence. It is open to the entire country. It begins here at 6 furlongs on the turf for the favorite, the 7 Hop on the Bus Gus for Linda Rice off the claim. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of New York racing for the call. Here's Larry Collmus.
They're all in line. They're off. Awesome Quick shoots right out of there to take the early lead. And then it's a Dixie Twister and Dangerous Woman. A length farther back in on the outside, Puppery takes 4th and races 4 lengths from the front. And then comes Pure Praise in between horses. And he rocks is down on the inside, 4 lengths off the lead. Then Hop on the Bus Gus and Brexit Revenge at the back of the pack as they make their way around the far turn. Awesome Quick on top, a length and a half. Dangerous Woman tracks 2nd, 23.15 for that opening quarter mile. And then comes Puppery on the outside, a Dixie Twister down toward the rail, followed by Annie Rocks and Pure Praise together, 5 lengths off the lead. And then Hop on the Bus Gus and Brexit Revenge, and they're coming to the top of the stretch here with Awesome Quick and Kendra Carmouche on top as they turn for home. Awesome Quick off the turn in front, a length and a half to Dangerous Woman in 2nd. A Dixie Twister is 3rd on the inside, then comes Puppery in 4th, followed by Annie Rocks down toward the rail, and Pure Praise in the center, then Hop on the Bus Gus. Here comes a Dixie Twister to take the lead from Awesome Quick. A Dixie Twister and Dylan Davis, and they're pulling away late. To win it by 3 as Annie Rocks gets 2nd in the last strides over Awesome Quick. Then a photo between Pure Praise and Hop on the Bus Gus.
A Dixie Twister beat 3 others who came back to face her again. She does it to him again. And in the final strides, Awesome Quick gets nailed for second as well.
Yeah, Awesome Quick was an embarrassing quick, actually, considering the pace she was setting, and she just stopped. You know, a horse like Dixie Twister, a lot of people, like wise guys like me, say, well, she had a perfect trip last time and was lucky to beat those horses. How could she win again? Well, guess what? Dylan Davis gave her a perfect trip again today. She got an absolutely perfect trip. He tucked her on the rail behind the 8. The 8 stops top of the stretch, and bang, she's in front.
Yeah, runs 1-2. Andy's right. I mean, Dylan gave the horse a perfect ride, and sometimes you end up giving horses, I guess you discredit him for having a perfect trip when the horse ends up putting himself in that perfect trip again.
And who'd you trust, right? I mean, listen, and I didn't like this horse, but who are you supposed to trust in this race, right?
Yeah, and the 8 got clobbered. I mean, excuse me, this is the 9 that got clobbered out of the 8. Somebody finished way back, maybe the 7.
Who's one of them, Paul?
Yeah, somebody was way out of it. But
Hop
this
on the
horse
bus,
shouldn't have
guys.
been 6-1. I know that.
Yeah, that was way too big a price. This is the 3rd time a Dixie Twister has done this, by the way, to Awesome Quick.
I know.
Yeah, Awesome Quick, and I embarrassingly scratched into her as my top pick. If she can't win races after going 23.15 on a very firm course in July at Belmont, under what circumstances is she ever going to win against these horses?
She's got 6 wins, too. That's crazy. I wonder if she just lost that winning spirit.
One was at 5 furlongs out of town,
yeah,
right, recently.
Yeah.
That is a tough beat for second for Awesome Quick, too. 1-2-8-6 finish. Former jockey Mike Maselli there. I got to get his picture taken with a Dixie Twister again. Not bad.
Good meet for
5th
Mike.
career win. Yeah, this horse now 4 for 5 on the Belmont turf. This could be the key to the 3-year-old division in the second half of the season. We'll talk Code of Honor next.
She's a very elegant, beautiful mover, has a great shoulder, pretty walk, and a real strong hind leg. Being by Runhappy, that's just even better because he was such a racehorse. And they say he ran drug-free, and that's a great thing in our business. And I just hope that she can be a runner for somebody.
Runhappy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and NYRA Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With NYRA Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the NYRA Bets app or visit NYRABets.com. Sign up at NYRABets.com for a new member bonus.
Warfront, a leading sire on all surfaces and all fronts. His recent Grade 1 winners include Omaha Beach, Helmsman, Fog of War, Lancaster Bomber, and European champion U.S. Navy flag. Plus, Preakness Stakes winner War of Will. And these recent group and graded winners. Sire of the highest price yearling sold in North America in 2018, this son of Danzig continues to dominate both on the track and in the sales ring. Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Into the winner's circle. Back-to-back starts now at Belmont on the turf for a Dixie Twister. It's been picture time. Dylan Davis aboard for both.
Congratulations, yeah, to this mare by Hartspun, a Dixieland band mare, Briar Hill Dixie. Boy, does she love Belmont. 4 for 5 over the racetrack with a 3rd place finish. Dylan Davis, same suspect aboard, and she's going to pay $15.80 from a 7-2 morning line.
With more on the 4th, let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Here with winning trainer Mike Maselli. And Mike, I gotta say, I think it's time to separate Awesome Quick and a Dixie Twister. The 3rd time that a Dixie Twister has turned the tables on her stablemate.
Yeah, she's just a little better filly than Awesome Quick, and Awesome Quick's more of a sprinter, and this one kind of is a come from behind sprinter, and main things we got the job done, I guess, you know.
Well, she's been awfully good here at Belmont and this year. Is there anything now as a, 5-year-old or 6-year-old that has changed that's just made her better?
No, she just all of a sudden came around, you know. At this time of year, she does well, and I'm kind of proud of her. She ran a good race.
And as a former rider, Dylan Davis gave her, once again, a perfect trip. Talk about his ride a little bit.
Yeah, he had her in a nice position, and when it came time to go, he eased her out, and she went about her business and did well for him. He gave her a good ride.
Now, let's say we go up to Saratoga in this condition. Do you think that Awesome Quick can beat a Dixie Twister if they meet again?
Well, 5.5 at Saratoga, the speed will carry a little bit more.
Yeah.
It'll be to her advantage.
All right, well, looking forward to this little stable rivalry once again, Mike, but congratulations, job well done.
All right, Maggie, thank you.
All right, Greg.
Well done by that trainer, as yes, stablemates run 1-3 here and got some options maybe to try and split them apart next time.
Yeah, and I would think the 5.5 furlongs is obviously going to help Awesome Quick a little bit more, but I don't know if that's going to help at all. But Dixie Twister might love Saratoga.
I like to see Mike Muselli do well. He's a good guy. He's a good trainer. He just doesn't have many horses, and when he has a chance, his horses perform.
Yeah, good to see him in the winner's circle. You see the late pick 5 kicking off with a price at 6-1 to begin the sequence, and a puzzler coming up here in race number 5 to kick off the late pick 4. It's a maiden special weight, 5.5 furlongs, and only 2 fillies with any experience racing in the afternoon in this field of 9.
I get the feeling looking at this race, the turf race, 2-year-old racing is really starting to rev up as we head towards Saratoga. I believe this is our first 5.5 furlong dirt race for maidens for 2-year-olds. And you look through, you're starting to see some expensive prices. You're seeing some of the top barns in here, a bigger field, and I think people are starting to really rev up to Saratoga.
You're right. And the big boys are coming out. Wesley Ward, Christophe Clement, Steve Asmussen, some first-time stars in here that are very live.
Coming up this Saturday, we're going out strong with the Stars and Stripes Festival. Catholic Boy back in action in the Suburban. And, of course, the Turf Triple with the Trinity Series for the Colts and the Tiara for the ladies. First leg of that 3-race sequence. $1 million in each leg for the boys.
A lot of money.
A lot of money. And I mean, it's going to be phenomenal, too, with Catholic Boy at the end of it. You're going to have to beat this guy, though, huh?
Well, and the Dwyer, yeah, Code of Honor, his trainer pretty high on him as he had this trouble down inside after Maximum Security veered out. He veered back in right there to Code of Honor and made things very difficult on him.
What a ride this was by John Velasquez. You know, so often losing rides are overlooked by people. But John Velasquez gave this horse every chance. And I think that Shug is probably looking at it and thinking, what kind of horse is Code of Honor? Is he a miler, or is he a horse that can be effective going longer? Because his options, obviously, from this race are to see if he stretches him out for a race like the Jim Dandy and Travers, or if he cuts him back to 7 furlongs for a race like the Allen Jerkins. And I think that's what a mile is going to suit him well and try to figure it out.
Yeah, maybe that's the middle distance that they want and what they're looking for, especially on the comeback. But yeah, he ran a bang-up race. A lot of people don't realize he was second, actually put up via disqualification. And he was also quoted, Shug was also quoted saying that he was one that shied away too, along with Maximum Security from something in the infield. So obviously he's got talent. This is his backyard, too, so that's a plus.
We were looking back at the beginning of that Kentucky Derby before we came on air, too. Horse who fairly significantly was bothering him the beginning of that race. Country House, who got put up for the win. Pretty interesting if you go back and watch the start of that race. Repeatedly bumped in that race. Well, as we mentioned, lost in the chaos of that historic decision by the stewards in the Kentucky Derby was the tremendous effort of that horse down on the rail. Trained by Hall of Famer Shug McGahee, the best may be ahead for Code of Honor.
Code of Honor's here, and he's doing excellent. And he's not even the same horse today he was when he ran in the Derby. So we're really looking forward to a summer campaign for him. That was what I had in my mind, and that was perfect with Mr. Ferris. That's what he said he wanted to do. If everything goes right, we're going to start him in the Dwyer on July the 6th, and then hopefully we can use the Saratoga races when they come along and see where it takes us from there. But we're very, very pleased with the way he's done. I think he's not as mature mentally as I would like for him to be, but he's getting that way, and I'm really, really pleased with his progress. You know, I heard him say there's been an objection, and so I said, well, that's not going to happen in the Derby. I'm walking back, so I'm standing there. And I'm trying to watch it on the screen, but I can't see on that thing. And but then later on that night, when I saw some still pictures just back at the hotel, and you know, I said, man, that thing, it was quite a wreck. when we came back and Johnny jumped off of him, he said, I thought he said Mike Smith's horse bolted, but he said Maximum Security bolted. And I was tuned watching mine, and so I didn't really see what all had gone on. And he said whatever he saw, Code of Honor saw too, and said he kind of did like this. And he said, and then I had a hard time getting him going again. I said, well, what'd they see? And he said, I don't know what they saw, but they saw something. You know, whether it was a crowd noise, it wasn't the little red man behind the pole. I'm gonna tell him that right now. But you know what it was, I don't know. But that's one of the things that I was saying earlier about he's still a very mentally immature type of a horse. And once I think with more racing, he's gonna even get better than what he was. So that did have a little bit of an effect. And then he came back over and tightened up on him, and I don't think he liked that either. But I'm excited about him, and we're looking forward to July the 6th and kind of get going again, and hopefully we're in the ball game when we get to Saratoga, we'll be able to play again. So yeah, I'm excited about him, and every day, you know, I come out here, I enjoy watching him train. He's not a pressure horse. Mr. Parrish couldn't be a better guy, and you know, so this is going to be fun.
Well, it's always interesting to see who's kind of take that step forward in the second half of the season. It's not necessarily the horse who was dominant leading up to the Triple Crown or in those races. New faces can emerge, and maybe Code of Honor. I mean, look, he ran huge in that race, too. He wound up being placed second in the race, but maybe he's that horse who takes that next step forward.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are wondering, okay, did he have a great trip in the Kentucky Derby, sitting there on the rail, sort of like War of Will, and then he benefited from War of Will and Maximum Security sort of going out or not? Shug seems like he's very high on him, though.
I think Shug has said all along he's a horse he thinks will mature over time. So he's obviously expecting him, as is reasonable to expect, especially from a trainer like Shug, to get better over time. And whether or not he shows that as a 3-year-old or even as a 4-year-old, like an Honor Code did, he'll get his chance.
Yeah.
Curlin, Jim Dandy, they happened pretty early on in the meet. Big preps for the Travers on August the 24th. It's going to be a fun summer in the 3-year-old division upstate at Saratoga. We're going to take a break in the action. It's going to be a fun Saturday here as well. In the Tiara, can Newspaper of Record relax early on and handle the 1 1/4 in the Belmont Oaks? We'll talk about that when we come back.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. Americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Kentucky Derby winner Orb. On the track, his runners have scored on both dirt and turf, including multiple stakes winner Autumn Warrior and Sipacan Harbor, winner of the Grade 1 Spinaway Stakes at Saratoga. On the track, Orb continues to add winners. And in the sales ring, his 2-year-olds have sold up to $250,000 in 2019. Classic winner, classic pedigree, Orb, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and NYRA Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With NYRA Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the NYRA Bets app or visit NYRABets.com. Sign up now for a $200 new member bonus with promo code LIVE at NYRABets.com.
This is a Runhappy colt out of the mare Proud Dame. He's a very nice colt, great mover, wonderful mind, just does everything we ask him to do. The best thing I like about him is he's no trouble. You can handle him, you can bathe him, you can hand walk him. He's just a very mentally stable horse for a thoroughbred. The Proud Dame colt will be going to the Fayetteville-Tipton July sale. We have high hopes for him.
Runhappy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the races, brought to you in part by the champion sprinter, Runhappy. Let's get a look at Grand Central there.
You know, there used to be an OTB there, right?
Did there really?
Windows on the left. On the other side, they were OTB windows back in the 70s when I used to come down and visit my grandmother. I used to bet there. A little cage on the side where you get the results and stuff.
Oh, that's
you know that the windows, the old ticket windows, yeah.
Runhappy now, of course, stands at Claiborne Farm out of legendary stall number 1 for $25,000. We're going to see his offspring this summer go through the sales upstate at Saratoga. We're going to see his offspring on the racetrack in 2020. And if you win an open company made in special weight at Saratoga in 2020 for 2-year-olds with a Runhappy, $100,000 bonus coming your way.
I think there's going to be a lot of Runhappies.
If I bet one that wins, do I get a bonus?
That's a great promotion.
That would
I'm
actually
going to mention that to marketing.
There you go.
Race 5 at Belmont.
Through NYRA Bets, of course.
Made in special weight here at 5.5 furlongs. 2 with experience. The 2 filly, also the 5 filly. Everyone else making their debut, and apparently there's some buzz on this one here because Palace Avenger is opened up at 8-5.
Well, that horse worked very impressively. 9 4/5, the 2-year-old sale. And I thought one of the more intriguing things about this horse, whose sire is Palace, a dual Grade 1 winner for Linda Rice, Steve Cawthon, the owner.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
See Steve Cawthon. And then you get Johnny V aboard. That's Wesley's main guy. Draws the 1 hole. You'd be worried most of the time drawing the 1 hole. But with Wesley's horses, they usually break very, very well. So you would think that, like Andy was saying, this daughter of Palace, they paid $75,000 for, should show speed like most of Wesley's horses.
Steve Cawthon, of course, of Triple Crown fame with a firm back in 1978. So the owner of this first-timer from the rail. With more on Palace Avenger and the rest of this group, let's get a Paddock report from Maggie Wolfendale.
And it's 2-year-old racing, so of course I want to talk about nearly all of the ones that haven't started, but I'm going to break them down into groups and talk about the ones that I've seen breeze, and 3 of which have come out of 2-year-old sales, and one of them just saw 2 breezes back for the Christophe Clement barn. Avuncular, her breeze with a stablemate. But let's begin on the inside with number 1, Palace Avenger. Worked 9 4. Did look pretty quick. I wasn't in love with the way she moved and the way she did it, but it was fine. And she's very athletic here. She's very fit, very relaxed for a Wesley Ward firster/sales baby. I mean, she's just kind of taking it all in here, and I like that. I like a quiet, confident horse with these 2-year-old fillies. So, yes, she'll probably be quick away from there, despite being very quiet here. It's Wesley Ward. He's probably going to win with the money he's taking. But there's some interesting propositions going against her. And number 3 comes in here for Gary Gullo, Miss Pepina. She worked 10 1. It wasn't very impressive work either, for the fact that she kept switching leads back and forth and never really kind of leveled off and got into her stride. But here in the paddock, I like her because she looks fit. She looks precocious. She looks like a horse that's supposed to win early as a 2-year-old because she's very stocky. She's got that big hind end to her. She just looks quick, and she acts that way too. Looks very strong as well, very fit for Gary, who I know isn't necessarily known to get a firster to really fire early, but I wouldn't be surprised if this filly does have a bit of early speed as well. Now, also working and selling at a 2-year-old sales, number 9, our Dixie Blue, and you may be familiar with this filly as she has a blue eye. So her right eye is blue, which is kind of odd because a lot of times we see blue-eyed horses have a lot of white on them, and she doesn't. She just has a little stripe down her face, but it's very striking to see her with that blue eye. I liked her work at Timonium. She worked 10 1, which is a good time over the dirt surface there at the fairgrounds, and she really lowered herself well into stride. Very efficient mover. She comes in here, she's very racy looking, athletic, sharp. She's not taking as much money as I would have thought, but she scares me a bit. I would pay attention to this one. She's pretty revved up and ready to go, as we'll also take a look at number 4, Avuncular, for Christophe Clement. Her work 2 back against a stablemate. She rated behind that other Christophe horse and never really got to her. When they swung her out to get to her, never really got to her workmate. So I wish she had done that, to be honest, considering we haven't seen the other one run yet. She's a big filly. There's a lot to her. She's very Uncle Mo kind of looking. They all have those long legs, and she's incredibly professional, but that's what you come to expect with Christophe. She's incredibly fit. Same thing goes. Does she want a little more ground? That's what I'm worried about, that she might get a little out-footed here, but Christophe can win and have a very fast one on his hands at all times. Greg?
Maggie, thank you very much. So yeah, Christophe's filly Uncle Mo went for $250,000. Keeneland September yearling sale of 2018. 9-1 on the board.
It's an interesting pedigree in the 4 avuncular because it's a turf pedigree from the first side, the dam. But the second dam produced Dream Rush, who was a multiple grade stakes winner, grade 1 winner for trainer Rick Vollett, and also a tremendous broodmare these days. So there is pedigree to be a sprinter, and Christophe Clement, he's dangerous in all these situations.
Well, we mentioned a couple times, only 2 in here with experience. One of them is the 5 Talk You Out of It, who has 3 starts under her belt, including a stakes race in the Astoria, where Marianne or Ginger for Jeremiah Engelhardt would get the win there with a 72 buyer.
And Marianne Ginger took advantage of the rail because even though she rallied outside horse in the stretch, she was on the rail for much of the race. Whereas Talk You Out of It was never on the rail. She was over 2 wide in the backstretch, 3-4 wide in the turn, and 5 wide in the stretch. And this was that time period in Belmont Stakes when the rail was very good. So even though the race fell apart, she was a bit against the track in there. But I just wonder if these first-time starters might be better than those stakes horses. And don't forget, the winner of that race was a
first-time starter. That's the thing. You know, Marianne or Ginger was a first-time starter. So, like, was the Astoria really a glorified maiden race? Remains to be seen today. We'll see today.
Here comes our post-parade, and it will be Palace Avenger to kick things off for a trainer who has them ready to go first time out. That's Wesley Ward with his debuter from the inside.
Taking a lot of money. You got to think after working 9 4/5 the 2-year-old sale, this horse is going to come out firing.
Meanwhile, 8-5 on Palace Avenger.
Interesting silks. Never seen those before.
Yeah, for Steve Cawthon. Here's the 2 positive power, and this is for Edmund Davis, misremembered filly.
I thought not a bad effort first time out. Gets LASIK second time. Now it goes to Eric Cancel, and you're getting 14-1.
8-1 on Miss Pepina. Joel Rosario rides for Gary Gullo.
You know, Gary Gullo can win with firsters, and this horse could be a much bigger price. I would say at 8-1. This horse is live.
Here's the Clement firster we were talking about for Waterville Lake Stable, avuncular.
Yeah, this one out of that Bernardini Eileen's Dream. Been working at Payson, then came over here to Belmont.
Talk You Out of It. We just showed you that last start in the Astoria.
There's no substitute for experience, and her experience gives her a very big chance, and she's run fine in her races.
Critical Decision. Here's the 6, a first-timer by Shackelford for Steve Asmussen with Ricardo Santana Jr.
Steve Asmussen, 22% with his first-time starters. And it seems like a lot of the babies from Shackelford have been like Daddy. They got to be in front, and usually they show speed.
36-1 on a first-timer by Bankheist for Eduardo Jones.
Not surprising, a long shot. The dam actually was a bit of a runner, but her foals have not run at all.
Here is Patterson, Jeremiah Engelhardt, another Uncle Mo filly with Luis Saez, who's battling for top jock honors at the meet.
Yeah, this one for August Dawn Farm. 5-1 right on that morning line. Steady work. He's been working at the Saratoga training track and comes down here for the debut.
That, of course, is Bill Parcells Silks. And here's the 9, Our Dixie Blue for Augustin Stable. Jonathan Thomas trains.
Sold as a 2-year-old after working reasonably well. A couple of the foals from the dam were okay. An unraced dam. Wagalia, the sire, a pretty good sprinter. I'll bet this horse can run.
There's a look at Patterson. August Dawn Farm of Bill Parcells, Luis Saez. He's right there, just I believe 1 back of Jose Lezcano.
2. I think 2 behind. Boy, it feels like Jose Lezcano is a horse with a big lead who's just trying to get to the wire first. I hope Jose wins it. He's had such a good run, but Luis has been riding well, and I think Irad's right behind them.
Yeah, and then Louis got taken down the other day, so I don't know if he's going to serve days or not.
Name for the city of Patterson, not the movie, the Jim Jarmusch movie, which I know both of you saw and loved. Big fans of indie movies. Right, Greg?
I'll put it on the list.
Excellent movie. Adam Driver, really good.
Palace Avenger. Andy, you were talking about the sales work from this daughter of Palace. We're going to take a look at it.
I mean, you know, I watch so many sales works. I gauge by Maggie, and if Maggie agrees with me, I know I'm not being completely wrong. This horse really starts moving, but it didn't initially look like he was going that fast, and he obviously kicks in. 9, and you see a horse work below 10. That's fast. I'm surprised the horse only sold for $75,000, though. But obviously they like it.
Well, Dam has produced several multiple winners.
Yeah, right. 3 or 6 foals could run.
I guess people were worried about Palace, maybe because only standing for 6,000. But then you look at like a horse that doesn't stand for much, like Wagalia on the outside, 3,500, and then boom, 120,000. So
yeah,
that's the 9 horse. So the one obviously is going to come out there, like Andy said, rocket out of there. That's what Wesley Ward horses do. And the way he's getting bet, you would think the way she's getting bet, you would think she's live. But, you know, we all haven't mentioned this filly, but she's got the most starts, and she's probably going to be the one they're going to have to hold off.
Experience, there's just no substitute for experience in these races.
And no one has near what Talk You Out of It has. This will be start number 4 for her. With more on this field, let's head downstairs once again to Maggie.
And checking in with 2 first-time starters I didn't get to mention back in the paddock. We'll take a look at 11-1, number 6, Critical Decision, a daughter of Shackelford. And they, like their sire, can get pretty hot under the collar, and she did a bit. Just a little bit nervous, a little washy. But that's him. That's every progeny I've seen from him as well. So it's nothing out of character, I would say. As she's got some leg to her as well. She's okay. I mean, it's Steve Asmussen at 11-1. But given that price and given what I've seen, maybe this is one we watch and bet back next time, because Steve does seem to do better with his second-time starters, especially up in Saratoga. As number 8, Patterson for Jeremiah Englehart. Again, another daughter of Uncle Mo, like Avuncular, and they're tall, leggy, elegantly built fillies. I like them as individuals. I just don't know if first time is going to be the time. Patterson was actually fairly green when she came out here on track. She didn't want to go with the pony, and then galloping off here, her rider, Louis Saez, kind of had to get after a little bit, like, hey, pay attention. So I love Jeremiah first time out. Don't get me wrong. I've been right with a lot of his horses a lot of times, but this one doesn't necessarily strike me as getting the job done at first asking. So I'm going to circle back to number 9 in here. That's our Dixie Blue. And talking with trainer Jonathan Thomas, he said, I've only actually had her in a month, and she has done everything perfectly and just hit every task I've asked her to. And she is just so racy to me. And maybe she's not going to beat the one in here, but at 11-1, I think she's a horse to highlight that will probably run well, at least from everything I've gauged. And I love the warm-up she got beneath Javier Castellano. And when was the last time Augustin Stable reached in for a sales horse, guys?
Informed decision, maybe. Okay. I think it was Informed Decision who ended up being a champion sprinter. I think it was her, another one that debuted at Gulfstream actually as a 3-year-old after selling at the 2-year-old sales, and she paid $55 for Jonathan Shepard, and she had worked very well at the 2-year-old sales. I remember that one very well.
Yeah.
It's a while ago.
So 10-1 on the outside filly, who, yeah, you mentioned a sire that's not that heavily fancied, and this one goes for $120,000 at auction. So obviously showed she can run a little.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say, right, when they see the price, right, if you have the multiple.
Yeah, of course. And she looks well on the racetrack. She gets Castellano. I'm surprised she is 10-1. There you see the 4. Avuncular. I mean, I thought she'd get bet.
I want to ask about the 9. Does it bother you a little that the 9 is 10-1 in here, our AC Blue? Because the Jonathan Thomas barn, when they're successful, they get bet. We saw him win that turf race here on Sunday. That horse went up 2-1. Never looked like he'd be favored in that race, and did. And last year, when he was on a good run, it just felt like every horse that was live was getting bet. But maybe this one's just got a little lost in the race.
Let's see what happens. Obviously, this is the strength of Wesley Ward. Couple that with the fact that there's some buzz about the runner. Horse showed she can run at the sale, and everyone's just paying all the attention to the inside here.
Yeah, maybe that's really what it is. I'm looking forward to this race because I think one of the great things about this time of year, and especially as we head to Saratoga next week, watching the 2-year-olds, right? You just never know when you're going to see a major, a real talent make its debut. Not necessarily even win sometimes, and pick up horses that finish or also rans. And I think that's one of the really fun things at Saratoga, is seeing these good 2-year-olds come out and follow horses, right? Say, I really like the way that horse ran, even if it didn't win, and see how the horse does going down the road, because we've certainly seen a lot of really great horses make their debuts.
That's where the Derby journey really starts for a lot of horses who have gone on into that race and won that race.
And you guys have seen it more in the West Coast because you spent a lot of time at Del Mar in the summer, and you've seen a lot of really great talents. And I've seen them more in the East than you guys, and now you're here with me. But it's really, I just love doing that. I think it's fun. Watch them develop.
No, it is, because like every day here, like this kind of race, or every day at Saratoga, you just never know when you're going to get struck by a superstar or a freak,
Steve Cawthon Silks won the Triple Crown back in 1978 on that filly moving into the gate, who is the 3-2 favorite for Wesley Ward.
You've never seen a phenomenon like Steve Cawthon when he was an apprentice in New York in 1976, I think it was. I mean, it was front page news in the news. It was incredible. They say in the jocks room that there were reporters every day lined up to talk to him. The kid. Pete Axtell wrote a great book, The Kid, about Steve Cauthen.
We'll see if those Silks wind up in the winner's circle here in race 5 to start this late pick 4. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of horse racing's Triple Crown for the call. Here's Larry Collmus.
And as Avuncular moves into the starting gate, the last one will be Our Dixie Blue. Our Dixie Blue going in. And they're all in line. They're off. It's Avuncular who breaks sharply. There goes Beautiful Amela, and from the outside, Our Dixie Blue. Critical decision in between horses, and Palace Avenger is there on the inside and now grabs third. Avuncular is back running in 5th after breaking well, and then it's Miss Papina, followed by Patterson, Talk You Out of It, and at the back of the pack is Positive Power. So they make their way around the turn, and it is Our Dixie Blue on the outside of Longshot Beautiful Amela. 22.04 for the quarter. These 2-3 in front of Critical Decision. Avuncular progressing from 4th, 5 lengths off the lead, and 3 lengths back to Palace Avenger on the inside. Patterson is next, and then Talk You Out of It. Miss Papina toward the rail. Positive Power at the back of the pack, and they're into the stretch, and it's Our Dixie Blue turning for home in front. Critical Decision and Avuncular. These two are both gaining ground. Avuncular to the front with a furlong to run. Miss Papina is running on strongly from the back of the pack with Talk You Out of It, and Palace Avenger is right behind them. And now it's Miss Papina. Miss Papina strikes the front at the 16th pole, and Miss Papina and Joel Rosario go on to score from Avuncular. Then Talk You Out of It and Palace Avenger.
Miss Papina, Joel Rosario, Gary Gullo, first time out with the win.
We talked about this horse taking some money. I mean, this is a horse that could have been any kind of price in here, and they were moving up front. It's a very fast-paced race. The long shot doing with Our Dixie Blue, and the race just collapsed at the end.
No, it did. 12-1 here, 104 and change, and yeah, it just went right on by. You can see the 7 on the rail there for a little bit. Beautiful Amelia for a split second at 70-1. But then it starts to turn into like a 2-horse race here between the 3 and the 4. 5 starts rolling on the outside. And the 5 is just one of those horses that just keeps running the same race. But this is a nice little exacta if you have it. The 1 ran in spots, by the way.
3, 4, 5 in the favorite, finishing 4th. First time out for Wesley Ward and Steve Cauthen. But Miss Papina down the center of the racetrack with the win in the debut. $80,000 daughter of Bayern.
Gary Gullo is one of these trainers that never gets a lot of credit. He's very under the radar. Unless you're in New York, you're not really familiar, but he can win with first-time starters. He's tremendous off the claim, and year in and year out, Gary Gullo wins.
And that man right there has been winning a lot as well, including the Belmont Stakes on Sir Winston. Picture time for Gary Gullo and Rosario. And at a price as well at 12-1. So we have these prices coming up for you. When we come back, we're going to step aside for a short time out after storming down the middle of the turf course to top a 13-horse field on Derby Day. Digital Age remains undefeated. We'll talk Belmont Derby next.
This Runhappy colt is a very precocious, good walking, balanced colt, correct. But overall, I love his physique, his demeanor, and his balance, and his attitude. He's a very lovely colt. I see a lot of similarity of the stallion. I'm excited to be selling this horse. I haven't seen any other Runhappies, but if they all look like him, I know they're gonna sell well.
Runhappy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and NYRA Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With NYRA Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the NYRA Bets app or visit NYRABets.com. Sign up for a $200 new member bonus with promo code SPRING19 at NYRABets.com.
Mastery retired undefeated, winning his 4 starts by a combined 20 lengths. A 6-figure September sale purchase, he won impressively in his 2-year-old debut at Santa Anita. From there, he captured the Grade 3 Bob Hope Stakes and completed his juvenile campaign with a dominant performance in the Grade 1 Los Alamitos Futurity. At 3, the top-rated son of Candy Ride sizzled in the San Felipe. Now his much-anticipated first crop has arrived. Mastery, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Amos with America's Best Racing, and I'm here with Serengeti Empress. And today we're going to talk about what Serengeti Empress's plan is for the rest of the summer. She finished second in her race, the Acorn, at Belmont. She ran some ridiculously fast fractions in the beginning and was able to hold on for second place.
Serengeti Empress taken on by Guarana. The two of them turned for home together after 3/4 and 1 over.
Now we're kind of looking ahead. New York is definitely an option. Saratoga. My dad, her trainer, Tom Amoss, brings a little group up there, so that's an option. As well as there's a couple things potentially across the country that she could be looking towards. So they haven't officially made a decision yet, and they will in the next coming weeks.
Well, you can see more of those great videos on americasbestracing.net. As for what is next for Serengeti Empress, it looks like, according to Tom Amoss, they are going forward back to Saratoga in the Longines Test Stakes Saturday, August 3rd. You know, in defeat, she ran a huge effort in the Acorn.
No, she did, and she's very good. And if she could win a race like the Test and add it to the Kentucky Oaks, makes her an incredibly valuable broodmare prospect, and as well as a racehorse.
Miss Pepina wins first time out for Gary Gullo. Joel Rosario, Bob Peterson Stables. Let's head downstairs to Maggie for more.
Here with winning trainer Gary Gullo, send out Miss Pepina to a first-time out victory. And Gary, quite a trip and quite a professional young lady she was.
She is, yeah. She does everything right. She's, you know, when we entered her here, you never know maiden special weight what kind of horses you're going to be running into. But I thought she would run well, but she showed she really ran good.
And the $80,000 you picked her up for seems almost like a bargain given that performance. I mean, you go up to Saratoga feeling fairly confident.
Well, yeah, you know, I mean, we thought we probably overpaid at 80 for her, but, you know, but she ran good. That sire seems to be doing very well, so, you know, hopefully we get lucky with her.
I was going to say, Byron turning into a 2-year-old productive sire, and you have another one in your barn, too.
Yeah, we're going to run Saturday on the grass, see how he does. But they seem to be doing well. This filly looks nice.
Do you look at any of the 2-year-old stakes up in Saratoga for the fillies for her?
Well, I didn't even, you know, I just got to get by this year real quick.
Didn't even cross your mind that the Adirondack might play into...
I don't know. You know, thank God we're in this situation, so I'm sure we'll see what's happening. We'll talk to the owners.
Well, it was good to see her perform like that for you, Gary. Congratulations.
Good. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, Miss Pepina, maybe we will see her up at Saratoga for some stakes action, guys.
Grill him, Maggie. We don't let anyone enjoy the moment here. It's what's next. Come on.
I got to talk to Gary, give lessons. He should have been a little more thrilled there. Gary really's got to let his personality bubble. You know, let's mention Avuncular a little bit, who ran second. Didn't she run very well in defeat for Christophe Clement? Because she made that first move into the fast pace.
Yeah, and like Maggie was saying, she's kind of filly that might's going to want to go a little bit longer. And look at the early pick 5. $45,000. And if you have that one?
Paul? Beyond.
No, if I have that one, I'd be off the set. Yeah, I'd be already at
That's all it takes?
I'd already be
Greg,
off.
What do you have?
I'd be already off to Saratoga. I already tipped Tony and Mr. O'Rourke a little bit of money so they could give me the time off. Yeah,
That's how it works? Really? I didn't know that. It's good to know. Thanks. I'll bring my checkbook
1 to
tomorrow.
5 defeated. You had a 3 to 5 defeated. And there was just price after price every step of the way in that pick 5
No,
sequence.
it was really tough to get to all of those high prices.
And you have to think that that winner could have been a much bigger price in pick 5s, you know?
True, true.
Sixth race. 50,000 starter allowance on the main track here, 6.5 furlongs, and just about everybody, with the exception of the 3, taking play on the board. We'll talk more about it coming up. Of course, that Turf Triple Series for the Colts. It is the Turf Trinity, $1 million each for All 3 legs of the sequence. The first is coming up this Saturday on Stars and Stripes Day. Digital Age, he remained undefeated with his performance in the American Turf. At about midway through the stretch in those red and white silks at Clarvidge Stables, all of a sudden kicks into another gear right about here.
Yeah, I think you can still hear the echo of me screaming, rooting for him in my office, actually. This has been a very good horse. He's going to have to answer a question, they all will, of whether or not he can continue to run as well as they stretch the distances out.
Master Fencer going to bring in a little international flair. He will get back on the turf. He actually tried the turf first couple of starts of his career and wound up 2nd and 4th. He's yet to win on it. And Spinoff for Todd Pletcher going to try this series as well.
You know, Spinoff ran sneaky okay, actually, in the Belmont Stakes. And Master Fencer was closing all right late in the race on the outside. They both have some talent. Interesting try by Todd. And Todd Pletcher with Spinoff said he could head up back to the dirt of that horse. He didn't guarantee he's looking only at turf going forward.
Yeah, you can see Master Fencer. It seemed like Julien Leproux was like wondering if the horse was going to switch leads, and when he finally just said, you know what, I'm going to forget about it, the horse took off, but you don't know.
Top 3 finishers from the Pennine Ridge. They are all coming back as well, including another undefeated 3-for-3 runner for the Chad Brown barn, DeMarchelier, who got the better of Seismic Wave and Social Paranoia this day.
Yeah, I mean, DeMarchelier is obviously very good. I think Seismic Wave ran very well in here at Belmont. I mean, the race did collapse in the late stages, and they could help both DeMarchelier and Seismic Wave, and DeMarchelier made the first move, which isn't necessarily beneficial. They're both big players going into this race.
What do you think about Social Paranoia, a horse that, since they put the blinkers on, has gotten a lot better?
He has. No, I don't want to knock him, and I don't think he's impossible. Is he? I haven't seen the race, so I don't really know. Is he the potential speed in here?
He could
that
be.
Help his
that's
chances?
why. I think that's
Though
why.
Spinoff may be faster than him. You know, it'd be interesting.
That's true, too.
Todd may have both speeds,
Yeah,
right?
he might have both speeds, yeah.
Full field.
Yeah.
Little international flair to it as well. But it's going to be fun to see. And 2 undefeated Chad Browns going head-to-head between DeMarchelier and Digital Age. Meanwhile, for the fillies, it is the Turf Tiara. Each leg of this series worth $750,000. And the first leg coming up, the Oaks on Saturday. And the Wonder again, another defeat at a very short price for Newspaper of Record as your stablemate Camber Park gets her.
And can Newspaper of Record get back on track? And can she do it going 1.25 miles? They're very, very big questions hanging over her head. Pivotal race for her.
No, it is a pivotal race. And is it a maybe passing of the torch to Cambia Park, that maybe she is a filly that wants to go a little bit longer, and maybe Newspaper Record's a filly that wants to cut back? But you never know. You might get fooled. Sometimes speed is better going longer with Newspaper Record.
Speaking of the torch being passed, maybe it was passed right here in Newspaper Record's first start back as a 3-year-old to Concrete Rose, who clearly took a massive step forward in her 3-year-old campaign.
I'm going to say right now, if Concrete Rose runs this well on Saturday, she is going to take a world of beating. Obviously, she's got to come to New York and do it. Now, she broke her maiden at Saratoga, but she'd never run this well. Still, this was a huge move up for her from her effort in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, which was also at Churchill. She's a big player.
No, you're right. She is. She's a big, giant player, and Rusty Arnold's barn has been on fire, Greg.
Meanwhile, 3-year-old fillies in the Tiara going to have a Japanese horse running as well, as Jody, seen out here at Belmont just the other day, is going to perform in the sequence. It's unlike Master Fencer, who's yet to win on turf. She's a multiple winner on the grass.
She won the Akamatsu Show as a $168,000 race, about 18-1 by a nose. Then she ran into grade 3 and ran 3rd. Her last 2 efforts, actually grade 2, not a bad effort, 27. She was 121-1 in the Japanese Oaks. Obviously, it shows you how tough that race was. But the Japanese horses have come over here and have made a good account of themselves, Andy. But this is difficult here.
Looking at her, I mean, we don't know who she's running against, but looking at her PPs, I have a tough time believing she's going to be competitive in here. And she's a cool entrant, and I hope she does well. But there's pretty good horses in here. Yeah. And she hasn't been competitive in the biggest races.
First of the series, it's meant to emulate the classics coming up this Saturday. Then we have the middle jewel at Saratoga, and then back here at Belmont for the 3rd and final leg. 6th race coming up, though, at Belmont right now. 15 minutes to post here in this 50,000 starter allowance. With more on this group, let's get a Paddock report. Head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
And guys, we see 2 horses coming in from out of town for this starter allowance. We'll begin with number 1, Senor Jobim, for Steve Asmussen. And while his last 2 efforts, they were fine. I mean, the previous one came in the slop. What I noticed about this horse at Churchill is that he seems to lean out a bit on the turns. It actually hasn't really affected him too much, but maybe he'd actually appreciate the bigger turns here at Belmont. Then again, it requires him to hold that left lead a bit further, and sometimes horses, if they don't want to hold that left lead, they'll switch early, and that's when you kind of see them get a little off balance. Now, physically, he looks tremendous. He and Shamrock are probably the best two looking horses in here. He's big, he's scopy, he's really well muscled, so we'll see what happens with this horse. He's wearing a ring bit, so that's good for a horse that may have the propensity to want to lean in or out. So he is going to be a short price. Both these out-of-towners are the shorter prices in this one. Guys.
Maggie, thank you. That's your favorite right now. Smile Brian for Graham Motion. Trying to collect the second victory of his career after winning at Laurel in 50 maiden claiming company. We're going to take a break. We'll be back. Approaching the 13-minute mark to post. When we return, we'll take a look at the opening day at Saratoga, the Skylar Field for 2-year-old fillies and the Quick Call Turf Sprint for 3-year-olds to look forward to.
Grade 1 winner Lee traveled the world competing against the best of his generation. A graded stakes winner on both dirt and turf, he set a new track record in the Grade 1 Don Handicap and retired with earnings of more than $2.3 million. With yearlings bringing up to $650,000 and his first crop 2-year-old selling up to $430,000, the sky is the limit for this promising young stallion. Lee, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Nominate now for the Thoroughbred Industry Employee Award.
Nomina hoy para los premios para los empleados que trabajan con caballos.
What are you waiting for? Why haven't you nominated yet?
She's a very elegant, beautiful mover, has a great shoulder, pretty walk, and a real strong hind leg. Being by Runhappy, that's just even better, because he was such a racehorse. And they say he ran drug-free, and that's a great thing in our business, and I just hope that she can be a runner for somebody.
Runhappy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Whether you have Derby dreams or Midsummer Derby dreams, this is Tom Durkin to tell you a registered New York bred can take you there. Diversify! That New York bred Exact and the Whitney by multimillionaires Diversify and Mind Your Biscuits shows the kind of quality that allowed New York breds to earn more than $93 million on the world stage last year. On-track successes have spurred New York bred sales result. At the March OBS sale, Chestertown sold for $2 million. And this New York bred 2018 yearling brought $1 million at Saratoga. So get with the program at nybreds.com.
Coming up on America's Day at the Races, graded stakes place, but yet to break through in a stake. LeCullen off for over a year, tries to win off the bench against a field full of stakes winners. Multiple stakes winner Therapist makes his third start off a layoff. Can the Belmont Turf Specialist make it 5 for 6 on his favorite course? All that and much more coming up on another edition of America's Day at the Races. Brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Welcome to those joining us on MSG Plus, Fox Sports Prime Ticket, Fox Sports San Diego. Those already with us on Fox Sports 2. Good to have you with us. Greg Wolf alongside four-time Major League All-Star Paul LoDuca, New York Racing Association handicapper, back from assignment in Las Vegas, Andy Serling. And our feature race, it's on the turf today in that 7th, where LeCullen coming off a long time off, but has won off the layoff before.
Yeah, he has, and he likes his racetrack. That's the one thing that is very key. You know, he's 2 for 4 at Belmont, 2 of the 3 wins. Is he ready off this kind of layoff? Plus 180 days. Kieran McLaughlin, okay, 32%, actually very good.
Not off layoffs of this kind. Not over a year. He's 3 for 25.
Not on turf either. That's the other question. And he's got a nice little, you know, 6-pack to deal with. There aren't any slouches in here.
No, and he's compromised by a lack of pace on a horse Noble Indy that have to be controlling on the front end.
That is coming up in race number 7. Get signed up, started, play along, bet all the races that we show you each and every day here on the network and beyond by going to NYRABets.com. Bet $200, you'll get a $200 new member bonus when you use the promo code LIVE at sign up. That allows you to bet any track, anywhere, anytime with NYRABets.com. Track conditions brought to you by Piranha Fly Spray, the preferred fly spray of Belmont Park. Piranha on, pests gone. The main track, fast turf course, is firm as we have beautiful weather here on this Wednesday afternoon, our final week of this meet here at Belmont before we head upstate to Saratoga with opening day Thursday, July 11th. Just ahead of us here. And this is what we have coming up on the show. Races 6 through 8. Entire rest of the remaining card here at Belmont Park. So time for a late pick 3 you can put together. And we have a pretty wide open 6th race ahead. 6-horse field that will line up in a 50,000 starter allowance at 6.5 furlongs.
Yeah, that was a great shot of Manny Franco and Javier Castellano just waiting.
Ricardo Santana.
Is that Ricardo Santana? Yeah, they were just waiting for their mounts. You look at the prices right now. Smile Brian, I think a lot of people are thinking there's going to be a ton of speed with the 1. Senior Jobim, Shamrocked maybe, and they're thinking maybe the 4 comes from off the pace.
And Ricardo's saying to Javi, you know I'm going to get you early on in the meet. I'm going to have a lot of first-time 2-year-olds for the Asmussen barn.
Javi looks like he's waiting for a glass of wine.
I think they're making fun of us, actually.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, probably.
Javi looks like he's worried.
He looks relaxed. He shouldn't be worried. He's going to ride. He's going to win this race.
8 minutes away from the 6th. Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
Yeah, guys, we're having a little bit of a delay here. Ricardo Santana probably looking, oh, man, I got to get on this horse. Yep, number 1, Senor Jobin. He's been holding proceedings up quite a bit here as, geez, yep, that overgirth's a big problem for Senor Jobin. So this is why we have this delay, and I don't particularly like this behavior. Then again, I don't know if he usually does this, so we'll see. Now, another horse that has had the propensity to be a little bit of a bad actor is number 6, Creative Style, who was saddled in the back in the mulch ring with the pony. And he's actually kept it together a little bit more than usual, which I like. He's gotten a little hot, but it's really hot down here. I don't blame him. And we'll probably see a thunderstorm the way these flies are biting down here. But I like the turn back in distance. And I didn't love him last time going longer, but he ran respectably well. And I just think 6 furlongs, given his disposition of being that keen, sharp horse, and the fact he's built a little bit more downhill, this 6.5, I think, just suits him much better than the mile that we saw last time, guys.
Now 1 at 7 furlongs. Here's the one who, for the moment, appears to be calmed down.
Well, as Maggie said, she doesn't know if this is something he always does. So if he always does this, it's nothing to worry about because he's been in very good form. And in fact, his race 2 back, his last fast-track race, would make him awfully tough in here. He ran that day.
We're being told the Paddock judge helping get this saddle on Senor Jobim. Doing a little bit of everything here to help out.
Yeah, and it just shows you that these guys can do it all. They always have a little bit of extra of everything. And there's Jobim. Blinkers have gone on. He's been a better horse by far. And this was the first time he put blinkers on. Then last time he got run down. This was 30-0 too. He's supposed to win this race. But then the next time out, I thought he should have won that one, Andy, and he got run down. So I don't know how to judge him today.
You know, he's a horse that showed promise early in his career. He ran an 84 Beyer in his second career start, breaking his maiden. So he's obviously had some issues in running and claiming races, but maybe he didn't love the sloppy track last time out. He's handled it before, but maybe he's better in a dry track. I think on paper he's a player.
Meanwhile, the 1's not the only horse who's been acting up. The 5 acting up a little bit as well. Shamrocked. I wonder if we can get a shot of this as well. But, yeah, sometimes it can be. There is Shamrock, who, just a moment ago for Ray Handel was a little rambunctious. And this is our one of 4 horses on the board at 5-2.
So wide open group. If you look at Shamrock, obviously this horse has got a ton of talent. If you look at some of his races that he's run, and in his last start, was brutal traffic early. And then the time before that, he stumbled out of the gate or he would have won that race. So he's had 2 troubled races in his 2 comeback races.
Yeah, I don't know, but they were at Parks. I don't want to get overly excited by race at Parks. He's not winning off his last. I will tell you his race on February.
Good record at Belmont, though.
His race at February 3rd at Aqueduct, probably win this race. Chased outside against a gold rail. Chateau wired on the inside. That was a very strong field. If you feel confident he can run back to that, he's a very tough horse to beat. I don't feel confident about it.
Burned Up Money is the favorite at Parks last time out, the 5 Shamrock.
Yeah. He's tough to read because that race at Aqueduct back in February, that'll win this race. The best race he ever ran by far. He's got some good races. We'll see if he can run one.
Oh, he even off that effort, he went to Parks.
And that was another good effort, yeah.
Got DQ'd in there, but stumbled out of the gate, crossed the wire first. And, yeah, ran a very good one against the 3rd-place finisher who would come back to win. And here's another look at Senor Jobim. The 5-year-old seems settled now.
Can we talk about the 6 Creative Style for a minute since we've got a little time? I like Creative Style here. If you look at his record, his races don't look necessarily good enough, but I think they're better than they look. Thought his maiden win 3 back was very strong. 2 races back, he was chasing wide against a very good rail, and we've had a lot of those at Belmont. And then last time, he not only chased a wicked pace, but he tried to do it going a mile. He's a better horse going shorter. He doesn't want a mile, and I think he ran very well last time. You might recall that's a race the pace collapsed and walk-off made a big close. Yeah. Now he's in a sort of outside stalking spot, cutting back in distance. I think he makes an awful lot of sense in here.
Yeah, he does. He does. He makes a lot of sense. He's that race, his second race of his career, he made up so much ground. Then Linda got him taken away from him, and then after that, he's shown more speed, but he can also rate a little bit. I think 6.5 furlongs might be right in between the alley. He might be right what he wants.
Let me ask you about the 4 Smile Brian, Paul, because I know you singled this horse.
I don't know if the lead or not.
Well, the speeds are the 1, 2, and 5 in here. Smile Brian is a horse you singled in the pick 5, and he's the shortest price, believe it or not, in the doubles. Is this a horse that has a layover on the sheets or something?
Well, good sheet number, yeah. One of the better sheet numbers, the 4 and the 6, and I think a lot of the people are thinking, okay, since the blinkers have gone on, he's been able to rate his last 2 times, plus the Grand Motion Barnes 4th rate at this meet. If you think about it, if the 1 goes, the 6 sort of has speed, like you're saying, and Shamrock. I think that the public's thinking the 3 horses go, and the 4 is the one that sits in the catbird seat.
I think the 1 gets the lead here.
By himself?
You have to think they're going to be aggressive with him from the inside and try to clear from the inside. But it's nobody. I mean, I don't think anybody here is that fast early. All of him and Go Big Blue, Go Big, Go or Go Home, and Shamrock
fast, right?
both had some speed. We'll see who's more aggressive.
Well, here comes our post parade.
About time.
Eventually, there are actually some of them still coming out of the paddock area. As fans enjoying this final week of this spring meet, and we got some very good weather for the last few days here.
We've got beautiful weather.
That person looked familiar.
Yeah, I know, right?
With a purpose.
Looks like hopefully the rain will stay away, I'm hoping.
When?
I'm hoping.
It's not supposed to rain.
Right?
Here comes Senor Jobim. Speed inside was a little keyed up and has settled down now for Steve Asmussen.
Yeah, and we'll see if he's able to be the speed of the speed. It's one of the questions. I think he's very tough on a dry track.
Go big or go home. Dylan Davis will be aboard, coming off a distant third at this level.
And he's got to get back to where he was before under the Gary Goa care, showing a little bit more speed and getting into the race.
Ventus at 27-1 for Joe Parker.
An underlay at 27-1.
And cut back in distance after going a mile and a 16th last time out. We're going to skip ahead to the 5 here. Here's Shamrock. This one was being a little of a bad actor in the paddock as well for Ray Handel.
The good Shamrock would be very tough in here. We'll see if that one shows up.
Yeah, that last out effort, that's tough to get past. And then back to the 4, I should say. Here's Smile Brian. Rosario for Grand Motion.
Yeah, what does Rosario do? The last couple times this colt has not broke well, but does he sit and pounce, or does he try to force the pace?
His only win came at Laurel. He opened as the early favorite in the wagering. And finally, on the outside, here's Creative Style, Javier Castellano, Rudy Rodriguez, who is coming off a third for 40,000 starter allowance. That was at a mile, now turns back.
Yeah, this horse lost at 35 cents on the dollar for maiden 20, and then Rudy Rod put blinkers on this gray gelding, and he's just gotten better and better with each start.
Tough group to try and separate here in the 6th at Belmont. With more, let's head trackside to Maggie Wolfendale.
Poor Shamrock, Greg. You keep picking on him. I think it was just bad timing. The camera was on him for the one little time he acted up, because he was a perfect angel the whole time, and that whole hold up with number 1, Senor Jobin. So he wasn't really acting up. It was when the groom took him away from the rest of the horses, he got a little concerned that, why am I being taken away from my friends? So he's fine. Look at him out there. He's just enjoying a nice little gallop beneath Manny Franco. He looks great. Yes, that last race at Parks, ugh. It doesn't sit well, but it was 7 furlongs. We'll see what he does here going the 6.5, but physically, I could not fault this horse whatsoever. Yes, the front bandages do stay on once again for right handle, but he and number 4, who we'll get to next, Smile Brian, really made the best impressions overall from the way they behaved and handled themselves during that hold up to themselves, too, physically. I mean, look, getting a nice warm up we see beneath Joel Rosario. He's known for that, with Smile Brian for Grand Motion. Now, it seems as though he'd lost his speed a bit in his last 2, but I feel like that was on purpose, because he's actually run a bit better stalking, and he was very relaxed in the paddock. So that's kind of the mindset I think they've instilled in this horse now, and he's carrying great weight, great flash. I like what I'm seeing from number 4, Smile Brian. Guys?
Well, Rosario, he was on board this horse, got to know him a little bit at Keeneland in that muddy track that day where he did run very big from much further than he's usually off the pace.
I really did not like his race last time. Maybe I'm wrong, and I know I respect Paul and the sheets liking him, but geez, I mean, I didn't think he did any running last time at all, and I think he's running a tougher field today, but I could be wrong.
So he's 3-1 on the board. I mean, everyone's a close price, really, of the 4 that are taking money, but the favorite remains inside the 1 who, if Santana is aggressive, can probably get the lead if he wants it.
Well, you know, Dylan Davis, who's on the 2 Go Big or Go Home, is not a particularly aggressive rider. And Manny Franco with Shamrock, he'll probably be happy to stalk in here, so they'll probably be the 2 that are going in here. One thing about Smile Brian, Grand Motion has had, run very few horses at Belmont. He's got 4 wins and 7 starts in 2 seconds. I think that's maybe one of the things that people like about him, too. He's been very careful and very successful with the choices he's made so far at this meet.
Yeah, he has been, and I think that's why this horse is getting bet. And besides Ventus, who's turning back in distance, this is the only horse really in here that has shown at 6.5 or 7 furlongs that he can pass horses. So I think a lot of people are looking at that, too, but he's got to pass some good horses here.
Yeah, I think he's in a much tougher spot than he was in last time. We'll see.
For the rest of the Belmont meet, you can earn a 10% winner's bonus on your Belmont doubles when you play through the NYRA Bets app. Bonus is capped at $25 per player per day. Visit NYRABets.com for details on that promotion. Loading up, favorite inside, Senor Jobim. 2-1 post-time favorite as we kick off the late pick 3 here.
And Senor Jobim, he loaded perfectly. He didn't seem to have any problem at the gate. The problem was getting that saddle on, right? Or whatever it was. What Maggie say, the overgirth?
Little help from the paddock judge, and everything's okay. Here we go. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of New York racing for the call of race 6, Larry Collmus.
Rider off of Senor Jobim. As Smile Brian comes forward. Here's Shamrock. Last one to come up will be Creative Style. And again, Ricardo Santana Jr. still standing off of Senor Jobim in the gate. He's now getting aboard as Creative Style steps forward. And they're all in line. They're off. Ventus had the best beginning. Shamrock with early speed. Senor Jobim sent through on the inside of them. And then it's Creative Style away running in 4th. Go Big or Go Home is next. And then Smile Brian the trailer. Shamrock and Ventus, these 2 locked in an early battle here up the backstretch. They're a neck apart with Shamrock in front. It's 3 lengths to Creative Style running in 3rd of the outside of Senor Jobim. Past a 22.59 opening quarter mile. Go Big or Go Home is 6 lengths behind with a half-mile to run. The trailer is Smile Brian, 10 lengths off the lead. And now it is Shamrock in the clear. Ventus is now 2 lengths behind. Then Creative Style, Senor Hobeam is under pressure now. Running along in fourth, 4.5 lengths off the lead. And then it's Go Big or Go Home. Smile Brian still last, but getting closer after a 45.8 half mile. Shamrock is the one to catch here. Shamrock turns for home with a 3-length lead. And then it's Ventus on the inside of Creative Style. Senor Hobeam is next. Then Smile Brian on the far outside. A furlong to run. Shamrock still 4 lengths out in front. And then it's Creative Style in second. Finishing well is Smile Brian on the far outside. And then Ventus. But it's Shamrock and Manny Franco. They're going to win it by 4.5 lengths in the end. Over Creative Style, then Smile Brian and Ventus.
Shamrock for Ray Handel, Manny Franco. Randall Manor Racing wins for the 4th time in his career.
And Senior Jobin did not break that aggressively, and it put Shamrock in a very, very good position where he's stalking that long shot Ventus in here, and he was just cruising the whole way. And frankly, I think you could see this race was over on before the turn, Paul.
Yeah, you could. I mean, the one not breaking just put the 5 in the winner's circle. Just the bottom line.
Late money.
Yeah, it took all the late money,
wow.
You're right, and was just able to put the big long shot away. And you could see Smile Brian and Creative Style trying, but they would never get to this horse.
He loves it here at Belmont. 4 for 6 now at this racetrack at Big Sandy, and yeah, bet down to favoritism. 8-5 in the end here on the son of Trap Shot, who gets the win. 5-6-4 finish. Shamrock with the victory. We're going to take a break in the action. It was a magical season back in 2010 for Blame. We'll take a look at his career at stud when we come back.
This is a Runhappy colt out of the mare Proud Dame. He's a very nice colt, great mover, wonderful mind, just does everything we ask him to do. The best thing I like about him is he's no trouble. You can handle him, you can bathe him, you can hand walk him. He's just a very mentally stabled horse for a thoroughbred. The Proud Dame colt will be going to the Fayetteville July sale. We have high hopes for him.
Runhappy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and NYRA Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With NYRA Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the NYRA Bets app or visit NYRABets.com. Sign up at NYRABets.com for a new member bonus.
This successful son of A.P. Indy has sired 6 millionaires, including Eclipse champion West Coast. This year, Flatter is adding even more stakes winners to his outstanding record at stud. In the auction ring, Flatter topped the 2018 Fasig-Tipton July sale with a $520,000 yearling. And this year, his juveniles have sold up to $375,000. Success on the track, success in the ring. Flatter, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. Into the winner's circle in race 6, Shamrock for trainer Ray Handel, Manny Franco, and a son of Trap Shot getting the win.
Yeah, likes this racetrack too. Now 4 for 6 lifetime. Out of the Giants Causeway mare, Irish Lullaby, and Raymond Handel for Randall Manor Racing.
To downstairs, get more from Maggie Wolfendale.
And here with the face of Randall Manor Racing is Jordan Zotz. And Jordan, Shamrock, he's been pretty good to you guys. I mean, besides his last effort, had been off the board and picks up his 3rd win.
Yeah, you know, we've had him for about a year and a half. We have 3 wins now with him. He's been a great horse for us. He always gives his best. We've had some bad luck with him getting through this condition, but we're so happy to see him finally get there.
And Jordan, as I don't know if people noticed on your silks, a picture of the Verrazano, very cleverly done, but a Staten Island native. Have you grown up watching horse racing? Is this kind of a dream come true to own horses?
Well, it is a dream come true, but I didn't grow up watching racing. I kind of fell in love with the game, and about 6 years ago, I went to the Derby in 2013, saw Orb win it, And from then on, we just, fell in love with it, wanted to be an owner, and got in the game. And so the Verrazano Silks are great. We actually own a Verrazano filly who just ran on Sunday named Morality Clause, and she's showing some good potential for us. So we look forward to that as well.
And you've been with Ray Handel from the get-go. Talk about your relationship with him.
Yeah, no, Ray is the best. I mean, he really is. Without Ray as a partner, I don't think I'd still be doing this. The care that he gives his horses is just, honestly, second to none. And, I truly respect him as a horseman, and I wouldn't want to be partnered with anyone else.
Well, Jordan, it's good to see those Verrazano Silks in the winner's circle here with Shamrock. Congrats.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys, Shamrock, he's been quite the claim for the Randall Manor Racing.
Ray Handel, a very talented, young, up-and-coming trainer, does a very nice job.
I couldn't agree more. I think Ray does a terrific job, and horses show up, and he really does great.
And it's the
Can't say enough.
son of Claiborne Stallion, Trap Shot here, who gets the win in race 6. Shamrock, as we take a look at the late pick 5 follow-along, Dixie Twister, Miss Papina, both. Certainly Miss Papina, tough to come up with.
And Shamrock was not 8-5 in the pick 5. I mean, this is a horse that was 3rd or 4th choice in a lot of the multis and took all the late money. This was a much bigger price in the pick 5.
Set the stage for race 7 or not. It's our feature race. Mile and a 16th over the inner turf, an allowance optional claiming group. And Therapist, wow, is opened up as a 6-5 favorite.
Well, everybody's looking at that last effort where he was about 6 wide, but it's Yaguchi Facker won the race. There was a blanket finish there, and here's the thing: I don't know if he really wants to go a mile in the 16th.
Different race, actually. That was a race that had a run-off speed, and it sort of worked in his favor. I think one of the things that Therapist, not only does he not want the distance, but people may look at his record and say, oh, he's very good at Belmont. He's very good in the Widener turf course at Belmont. He's only run once on the inner turf, and that was his debut at 6 furlongs. He has the kind of style that is flattered by the Widener turf course, a closing style. It's not the same thing on the inner turf today where speed is much more dangerous, and I think he's a terrible favorite.
We'll see the early money on him right here, a multiple stakes winner for Christophe Clement. We shall see. 2010, it was a dream season for Claiborne with their homebred Blame, handing Zenyatta the only defeat of her career, taking the Breeders' Cup Classic and having a sensational Eclipse Award-winning 2010 season. He has turned out to be a star at stud as well.
Blame's great. You know, he's, if he were human, he'd be captain of the football or basketball team. He's just got that swagger, and he's confident in his abilities. Just a nice guy to be around. He would definitely be the quarterback of the football team.
Blame's a very intelligent horse like Warfront, very good to be around, good disposition, a good breeding horse, seems to listen to every order that you give him. A beautiful horse, a beautiful made horse.
Blame had a breakout year in 2018. It was a year that we were kind of always hoping for and anticipating. He had a few Grade 1 winners, a lot of stakes horses, a lot of graded stakes winners. You know, he was standing for $25,000 2 years ago. We cut his fee in half to $12,500. And in order to get a full book, and subsequently he went on to have his breakout year, and now we were able to raise him back up to $30,000. You know, he's finally proven to be the sire that we always hoped he would be.
He's had a great year last year, and he's having another good year this year, and we've just got to keep it going.
You know, I was at Churchill when he won the Breeders' Cup Classic. It's an image in my mind that it'll never go away, the feeling there. And now, you know, to watch his offspring racing and you're pulling for them, it's just awesome. With Blame, you know, come November, I'll be with him 9 years. And I kind of treat him the same way as I treat my kids, you know. That's how I kind of look at him. He's one of my boys.
Well, it's like a Hollywood movie script With Blame winning the Breeders' Cup Classic, having that kind of year on the 100-year anniversary of legendary Claiborne Farm.
That is pretty cool. Yeah, he's a good horse. Al Stahl did a great job with him.
Here's Murad, who's sired by Blame. And a 4-time winner on turf, one of 2 runners in the race for trainer Todd Pletcher. He has the 3 Noble Indy as well.
He hasn't shown yet, Murad, that he can get back to his best form of last year. And he's also a horse that's probably better with some give in the ground. But, you know, it is his 3rd start, and he's got some credentials here, though I prefer Noble Indy of Todd's horses.
He's only nose behind Raging Bull. He's been Catholic Boy hawkish. He's running against some nice horses. So is some of the other horses in here. But you could argue he's been up there with the toughest company.
No question. Rad Ortiz Jr., he'll be aboard Murad this afternoon. Favorite remains Therapist, though, who you're looking at. Joel Rosario aboard. Post-parade. Paddock report when we come back.
This proven son of Giants Causeway has sired 4 millionaires, including Claiborne Farm stallion Lee. Recent top runners include Cutting Humor, winner of the Grade 3 Sunland Park Derby, plus 3-time graded stakes winner Sharp Samurai, and international star Shamal Nibras. This year, his 2-year-olds have brought prices up to $310,000. First Samurai, standing at Claiborne Farm.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
This Runhappy colt is a very precocious, good walking, balanced colt, correct. But overall, I love his physique, his demeanor, and his balance, and his attitude. He's a very lovely colt. I see a lot of similarity of the stallion. I'm excited to be selling this horse. I haven't seen any other Runhappies, but if they all look like him, I know they're gonna sell well.
Runhappy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and NYRA Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With NYRA Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the NYRA Bets app or visit NYRABets.com. Sign up now for a $200 new member bonus with promo code LIVE at NYRABets.com.
Want a shot at winning $1 million? Who wouldn't? Here's your chance. The new Stay Lucky app from America's Best Racing. First, you've got to download it. It's available on Android and iPhone. Now that you've got it downloaded, just click on the app and set up your account. Once you're logged in, click on this quick tutorial on how to play. Now, you're just about ready to start picking some winners and building a streak. But before you do, a little help for you from some pros. Each week, the best races in the country are loaded onto Stay Lucky. All you gotta do is click Make a Pick, and you've got a fresh menu of races to sort through. You can pick one horse for as many races as you like. The more you play, the faster your streak will grow. As you start stringing together winners, you'll start racking up prizes. Get to that 20 win mark, you're gonna win $1 million. And with the Stay Lucky app, you're always just a click away from everything that's on americasbestracing.net. So, what are you waiting for? Download it, start picking winners, and stay lucky.
Back on America's Day at the Races. Good to have you with us on this Wednesday afternoon as we start off our final week of action here at Belmont Park before we head upstate to the premier meet in the country out at Saratoga. Of course, brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. Go to americasbestracing.net for more, including great videos, all of it, as we get set for our feature race here coming up. And that is a look at the horse coming off the bench here for Godolphin and Kieran McLaughlin. 3-time winner on the turf, but he has been off for 13-plus months. Luke Cullen.
And over a year, these are on the turf. He's 3 for 25 on both surfaces, and the money right now is saying this horse might need a race. I will not argue.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, he's the best horse if he runs his best race, but is he going to run it?
Behind Yoshida and the Hill Prince, I mean, that race obviously wins. He's got a lot of races that win this. And
one of those two victories, though, was with this horse.
Oh, that's good. I like that. Off a year? No, a year layoff. Year. This horse had a 3-month layoff, right?
Oh, okay, that was a year layoff. My bad.
That's okay. 3 months, a year. You know, Greg, it depends.
4 months.
3 months together feels like a year. That's what you're thinking, right?
Here's still favoritism on this guy right here, Therapist, for Christophe Clement. Big rider switch with one of the hottest riders on the grounds right here, Joel Rosario.
Yeah, and he had issues. He seems like he sometimes causes his own issues, and he had issues even when he won this race by a neck. He had to steady a little bit and was able to get up. And then last time he just sort of flat-footed out of the gate, got left sort of way behind the field and got too much to do. On this day, he got it done going 7 furlongs, but a mile and 16th, different ball game.
Yeah, I don't understand the money. This is a horse that's really much more suited to those sort of elongated sprints on the Widener. I know he won a mile at Saratoga around 2 turns. It was a 3-horse field. This is a very different situation, but it is a gigantic rider change to Joel Rosario.
Let's head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
Andy, I think you could have done the Paddock report there. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Look, I appreciate the way that Christophe has done this from a 7/8 to a mile and a 16th, but I've never liked this horse going over a mile. Mile is the max for me. And I know I'm splitting hairs with just a half a furlong more, but he's just not physically suited for it. He looks great, though. He's wearing front bandages, and only fronts, for the first time. And this is not something typical for Christophe. I don't think I've ever seen one of his horses in recent memory just wearing front bandages. So that's a little interesting there with Therapist, as the long layoff runner is number 6, Luke Cullen. And despite the long layoff, I feel like I'm looking at the same horse that I'd seen in the past. This great energy, just has this great presence, this horse. And he looks strong. Maybe he's filled out a bit. Obviously, being 5 now helps. And maybe he needs a start, but I like what I'm seeing. I think he could run very well here off the bench as well. So quickly check in with number 3. That's Noble India, a horse that I learned last year when I was down in the fairgrounds, the race before. In the Lecomte, he got Risen Star, he got really wound up that day. And then the next time in Louisiana Derby, he was so calm, cool, and collected. So I think it's a mental thing with this horse. If he stays relaxed, which I think another year older has helped him do, and they saddled it in the back, he looks great here. I think he's very intriguing for his second start here on the turf. Greg?
Maggie, thank you. Our post-parade coming up in a few moments here. For the rest of the Belmont meet, you can earn a 10% winner's bonus on your Belmont doubles when you play through the NYRA Bets app. Bonus capped at $25 per player per day. Visit nyrabets.com for details. And, of course, our late double starts in this race coming up.
Yeah, it's a tough late double. I honestly think that this race, Noble Indy is going to be very tough. He's not taking a lot of money right now. But to me, Noble Indy, last time he ran the 3, it's the first time in almost a year and a half that he ran a competitive race. It was his first race in the turf. Running against good horses, Guido got away from. He looks like the controlling speed on paper for Todd Pletcher, and I think Noble Indy is a major threat to wire this field. I'm surprised he's not taking more money.
Definitely looks like he's going to be the one to catch up front. And for the last couple of weeks, it had been a very speed-favoring turf course that's kind of not been as much the last couple of days of racing. Yeah, but it had been for a while.
I disagree with. I know you guys said a lot on the show with you. I'm going to disagree. I watched all the turf race and I think it was more a function of pace. There were plenty of horses that made runs from the back. I don't think we've had until last week that hot weather that bakes the courses. So I'm going to respectfully disagree and think that speed's an advantage if you're able to control on the front end, but not an advantage to a horse. Yeah, but not an extra advantage. I think that horses had the right kind of setups, and I just think you saw some faster fractions because the courses are pretty firm.
Here's Force the Pass. Former Grade 1 winner beat him last time out, Almanar.
Yeah, and he'll bring in his local rider, Jevy and Toledo will be aboard. This horse won the Belmont Derby at one time.
Here's Noble Indy, Todd Pletcher, Jose Ortiz for Rapoli Stable.
Jose Ortiz just go to the front, and the horse will do the rest from there, win or lose.
Murad, another Todd Pletcher runner. He has the 3 as well.
His horse has danced a lot of dances in Grade 3s, Grade 2s, and Grade 1s last year in the Belmont Derby. 0 for 3, though, here over the oval.
Therapist been favored throughout the wagering.
Yeah, I think the question you have to ask yourself is how much is the rider switch worth to you as far as a price situation, because he should not be this kind of favorite, but it is a big rider change.
Luke Cullen, 7-2, trying to win in his first start back since May of last year.
Yeah, tall task, but he has the credentials to do it.
And Harlan's Harmony, John Terranova, comes in off a win that was at 1 mile and an eighth at Belmont on the inner turf.
He is taking a giant step up in company.
Dylan Davis will be aboard. So our feature race coming up, and Force the Pass coming out of a very competitive group that included, we mentioned, a former Grade 1 winner and a horse who would come out of that race to win a Group 2 up in Woodbine. Let's go to Maggie Wolfendale.
Here with trainer of the inside runner, Force the Pass, Jorge Duarte. And Jorge, for people who don't know, you took over training at Colts Neck Farm from Alan Goldberg, but it was a natural progression as you were his assistant for a long time.
Yes, I know Al since I'm 16. I rode with the Bug, jockey, assistant, did it all, and you know, they feel glad that they give me the opportunity.
Now, a 7-year-old horse, Force the Pass, he's been in your barn for quite a long time. Talk about the journey with him. I mean, 4 years ago, he won the Belmont Derby here.
Yeah, you know, I had known since he was 2. We love the horse. He's the house favorite. We were happy he's coming back at 7 and still seems like he wants to do it. So we'll see how he does today.
I was going to say, perseverance is key with him. You brought him back off a long layoff after long layoff. And is it something that once he gets in the barn, he just shows you that he still wants to go out there and perform?
He loves his job. You know, he had a setback, but, you know, since he's been back, he's been happy. And, you know, we're leading him over, and he's trying it every time. So we'll see what happens.
All right, best of luck. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, guys, Force the Pass, the 7-year-old couldn't look any better. He's always been such a handsome horse.
This will be his third start off about a 6-month layoff here. 7-year-old by Speightstown.
I don't know if you remember in 2015 when this horse won the Belmont Derby, he made this giant move and ran a huge race, and he really looked like he was going to be the next 3-year-old turf star. And while he ran some okay races after that, he never came close to running back to that race. And he's run okay, but he just doesn't seem to get on a horse he used to be or once was.
Yeah, and that's a great Dynaformer on the bottom side. He does have $1.3 million in the bank.
Yep, and 700,000 of it was in the Belmont Derby.
In the one race, yeah.
right. I mean, it was almost $750,000, I think.
Yeah, here's Noble Indy. And, yeah, the one to catch in here. Definitely the one to catch. Probably needed that race, too. Your worry is June 7th. Is it a quick turnaround? I don't think so. I think it's okay.
I liked his last race. And I liked the fact that it was the first time he showed some life. You know, a friend of mine had turned me on to it. He was very adept with looking at workouts. And he really liked the way he was working on the turf. You know, the way he was handling the surface. And he said, don't be surprised when he runs much better than you expect. And he did at 16-1. And now he's in a turf course, the inner, that favors horses with a front-running style in general, and he may be able to get away with a pretty tepid pace in here. I think Noble Indy's going to take a lot of catching in here.
Second time on the turf. Dam actually won a minor turf sprint stake with more on Noble Indy. Let's go back to Maggie.
And guys, Andy, you persuaded me, but also Noble Indy's persuaded me himself, and it was interesting bringing up those turf works. A lot of times when you see horses trying the turf for the first time, or even first-time starters, when they're really good movers and they have that really kind of lively, bouncy trot or even gallop to them or canter, those are typically horses who like the turf, and you just saw Noble Indy with that trot beneath Jose Ortiz. It was like he wasn't touching the ground at all. He was just throwing them out there, and that's just an indication of a horse who is going to run better on the turf. Obviously, he did in his last start, but I feel like he's doing possibly even better heading into this performance than last time back on Belmont weekend. Guys?
See what happens here. And, you know, the rest of this field realizes this is probably the horse to catch as well, so it'll be interesting to see what the rest of this group does.
Yeah, I mean, he's faster than them naturally, and you're not going to take them out of their running style. I mean, certainly, I think Harlan's Harmony maybe by default ends up out there. Perhaps a horse like even Maraud could be sitting close behind him. But, boy, there just isn't any other speed in this race. And maybe it'll be run differently. You never know.
So 5, maybe Therapist can get back to some of his old speed, but he doesn't really have, yeah, I guess... Maybe, I don't know who sits in that second slot.
You love Therapist, Greg. He's your favorite horse, isn't he?
Look, horse is 7 for 12 lifetime on turf. He's won multiple stakes, but he does seem to be better, doesn't he, at 7/8 to a mile?
Yeah, I just think, especially the Widener turf, you know, those sort of elongated one-turn sprints are very, very good for him. He's a terrific horse. I don't want to knock him in any way. And listen, You could argue, besides LeCullen, he's the second most accomplished horse or the second fastest horse. But horse racing's about more than that, right? You have to be in the right races. But this, I mean, I can't say enough about getting Joel Rosario aboard this horse, especially given how well Joel's been riding.
And, I mean, what do you think? So he definitely seemed like he was getting really, really good last summer. Now, one of those wins, it was a 3-horse field. And don't even look at that. That race at Belmont on the yielding turf. What did you think about that performance?
The race 2 back?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I thought it was a bad ride. It was a bad winning ride. It was a rider who unnecessarily took a chance, jamming him inside, almost got stopped. But he also did get a fast pace to close into. So something bad, something good. But that's a 7-furlong, 1-turn race, right? Those are the kind of races that I feel, at least, he is most suited to. And I think Christophe Clement would agree. I think he would probably question whether or not a mile 16th, especially on the inner, might not be his most preferred surface, distance.
Well, this guy has now become the favorite, and he is the class of the field. Again, he not only, you mentioned that was Bricks and Mortar's last loss.
Amazing. When
they faced off in the Hill Pursuit. He actually finished ahead of him that day, so he beat him that day, even though he didn't win the race. He lost by a neck to Yoshida.
They're
some pretty stiff company.
Yeah, I mean, that was a Grade 1 field. Yoshida's not only a Grade 1 quality on the turf, he won the Turf Classic at Churchill last year, but he's a Grade 1 winner in the dirt, and we've seen what Bricks and Mortar has turned into. I'm not going to argue with anybody that says to me, if LeCullen shows up with his best race, he's going to be a handful. I mean, he is, unless, a horse just runs exceptionally well.
But, too, this is probably not the race they're pointing to as the target.
No,
this
probably
is
not.
the race to use to maybe get to that, or a stepping stone.
Yeah, right. Sure. I mean, you look at these races, and Kieran LeGlas is going to say, we're not as worried about winning here. We want to get to bigger races at Saratoga. But I don't think anybody should confuse that with saying, we don't want to win.
No, exactly.
He wants to win.
But is he at 100% of what we know LeCullen to be? Probably not.
Yeah, I agree.
You don't know.
I agree with you.
He's favored 2-1 on the board. 14-month layoff. We'll see how he fares off the bench here. And there's Noble Indy stepping in, part of a duo for Todd Pletcher. Murad right next door, part of that team as well. Send it upstairs. It's our feature race. Here's the voice of New York racing to call it, Larry Collmus.
Harlan's Harmony. LeCullen moving in. Now LeCullen goes in there, just waiting for Harlan's Harmony. They're all in line. They're off. Noble Indy is going out to the early lead. There goes Therapist on the outside, and LeCullen is showing some early foot as well. On the inside is Forced to Pass. Murad shuffled back and joined on the outside by Harlan's Harmony as they head to the backstretch in a tight pack led by Noble Indy and Jose Ortiz. We're on top by 3/4 of a length. Therapist and LeCullen second and third. A length and a half to Harlan's Harmony on the outside of Murad and Forced to Pass. 24.79 was the first quarter. Just 3.5 lengths from top to bottom here as Noble Indy leads them up the backstretch almost a length in front of Therapist. LeCullen is third on the outside. Then a line of 3. Harlan's Harmony, Forced to Pass, and Murad between those two. Up the backstretch, still in pursuit of Noble Indy, who leads a length to Therapist and LeCullen. This first half mile, 49.78 seconds as they race for the far turn, then Forced to Pass. 3 lengths off the lead inside of Harlan's Harmony, and Murad, the trailer, now 6 lengths off of Noble Indy, who has Therapist just a neck back on the outside as they round the far turn. LeCullen is 3 deep, and now the 3 of them are across the track. And Jose Ortiz starting to go to a ride on Noble Indy. Right alongside her, Therapist and LeCullen, Forced to Pass in behind them. Still in hand at this stage. Gonna swing out outside the top 3 at the top of the stretch. LeCullen has taken the lead as they come to the 8th pole. It is LeCullen in front from Noble Indy. Therapist and Forced to Pass has got to do better now. It is LeCullen on top with a 16th to go. And then Noble Indy second on the inside as LeCullen and Luis Saez do it by a length and a half. And that it was Noble Indy Therapist and Forced the Pass.
Lou Cullen off the lengthy layoff. Class prevails, gets the win, his 4th turf win in 8 starts.
He's just too good. They took him out of his game to keep him close to a slow pace, and he was 3 wide the whole way, and he just wore down Noble Indy. Noble Indy ran okay, but he had every advantage to win this, and Lou Cullen was the best horse in the race.
You're right. I mean, when you're 3 wide most of the way, when he was up close to the pace like that, you were just figuring, okay, his class is going to win over, and that's what happened. He's just the best horse in the race, and he just out-kicked everybody home. And no disgrace with the 3 Noble Indy, because Therapist looked like he was going to go by, but he put him away, and I thought he fought on pretty well on the rail.
Yeah, and you know, I think you say, well, with Therapist, well, Joel Rosario realized the pace, and he took him out of his game a bit, keep him close, but that's what Luis Saez had to do with Lou Cullen as well.
Of course,
so they were both compromised, and Lou Cullen had no problem with it. Therapist doesn't really want to go this far, and at the end of the day, I'm still not sure he's really that good, but he's not as good as these horses going a mile and a 16th, that's for sure.
This is a good starting point.
Yes, it
Cullen,
is.
isn't it?
Plenty of punch
Agreed.
down the lane, catching a horse who was by himself up front, got to go 49-3, and still finishes like that. So Lou Cullen certainly would expect to see a bigger target next time out for him.
Yeah, and listen, the only race that we saw him was 2 years ago when Black Tide opened up that giant lead on everybody, and he came rolling late and was probably best that day. He was flying at the end of that race. So he's run a race at Saratoga that's been good, so I'm sure we're going to see him in his next start there.
Could Kieran's got to be thinking, get him to a race like the Grade 1 4-star Dave.
Yeah.
You have to think that's what he's thinking about. You run a race like that, he runs well. You can either wait for Keeneland or go up to Woodbine and run, because those are Grade 1s.
Might face Uni in that race.
Yeah.
Potentially. Chad Brown thinking that for his 5-year-old mare.
Yeah, no, he definitely is thinking that. I think he's thinking that with a lot of horses. I think Rushing Fall isn't off the table for that as well.
You start looking at him now, and you're thinking, okay, this horse has beaten Rocketry, lost to Robert Bruce, got beat by a
Your
neck by
eventual
Yoshida.
Arlington Million winner.
Yeah, I mean, like, you look now, you start looking at the horses that he's been beating, and we're taking a look at Therapists, and like, listen, he's just on the wrong lead. Andy was talking about it. He's tired. He just can't beat these type of horses at this distance.
He is.
He's honest.
He's a terrific horse,
Yeah.
but just because you're a terrific horse doesn't mean you're necessarily terrific in the circumstances you're in. And that's what, I mean, handicapping is about finding the right horse in the right spot, right? And Therapist is a horse that was the favorite you're supposed to bet against. This Exacta is going to pay $34 for $2, which is absolutely remarkable because there are 2 to 3 favorites, and if you had an anti-Therapist opinion, that's how you make money at the track, right?
Lou Cullen, Godolphin Blue, picture time, Kieran McLaughlin. That layoff, no problem. 3 for 11 now off the year layoff?
Yeah, he's now good.
Luis Saez with another victory as he's trying to be the top rider at this meet. Prices set up the nightcap when we come back.
She's a very elegant, beautiful mover, has a great shoulder, pretty walk, and a real strong hind leg. Being by Runhappy, that's just even better because he was such a racehorse. And they say he ran drug-free, and that's a great thing in our business, and I just hope that she can be a runner for somebody.
Runhappy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and NYRA Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With NYRA Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the NYRA Bets app or visit NYRABets.com. Sign up for a $200 new member bonus with promo code SPRING19 at NYRABets.com.
Eclipse champion Blaine was considered by many as the breakout stallion of 2018. His top runners included Grade 1 winner and Eclipse Award finalist Marley's Freedom, plus Grade 1 winner Fault, and graded stakes winners Morale, Beyond Blaine, Miss Kentucky, and Blaine. This year, his 2-year-olds have sold up to $700,000. Outstanding results, outstanding value. Blaine, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. Feature race in the books. It was race number 7 and won by the comeback kid. That was Lucullen off of a year-plus layoff for trainer Kieran McLaughlin. And beneath this guy here, Louis Saez. And Lucullen, not an easy trip, stalking 3 wide the entire way, behind a fairly slow pace.
Yeah, it was a slow pace. So, he was right there. He brakes so sharp, long time you don't run. I was a little worried when he came to the stretch because he was, like running all over. But we controlled and he was pretty running good when he came to the stretch. So that was amazing.
Shaking off a little ring rust, I would have to assume. But as far as having some left in the tank, did you feel like there's a little more horse underneath you too?
Yeah, definitely. I have a lot of horse. He passed by, I could have stopped and he was running. Yeah.
Well, tomorrow you'll be again aboard another turf horse for trainer Brad Cox and pole setter. Took down the Paradise Creek last time out. This time it's in the Manila. Same game plan? Go to the lead?
Well, let's see. You never know. Yeah. But that's the first thing we want to try to do. If we break good, we take the lead. If not, we can, run in a different way. But he's a nice horse. Last time when he ran, I really like him. Actually, I take off a couple there, man. So ride the horse. Nice. And I like the horse, so I hope everything can so well tomorrow and win the race.
All right, Louis. Well, good luck to you, but congrats here for taking this one with Lucullen.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right, guys, Louis feeling confident with pole setter tomorrow in the Manila.
Yeah, as mentioned, when gate to wire in the Paradise Creek, going to be facing Win, who was in the Kentucky Derby, getting on the turf for the very first time in that race.
Yeah, right? Win. I don't know if he's bred for it, but there you see the late pick 5 follow along. First day that we've opened it to everybody, and I'll tell you what, they are paying well.
They are, and we're not surprised they're paying well. Win. I'm going to tell you something. If I was the racing manager, he'd be running in the Dwyer. He would have run in the Woody Stevens and won it. And I don't know what they're doing with him. This is a dirt sprinter. He's a closing sprinter. They've been running him along the dirt. Now they're going to the turf. He should be heading towards the Alan Jerkins in Saratoga. I want to be the racing manager for that stable.
Well, you're going to check off the box, try the turf, see how it goes. Maybe that will be the eventual spot later this summer. 16,000 non-winners at 2 Lifetime coming up in our finale. Our show, of course, brought to you in part by, of course, it was a Grade 1 winner at Saratoga Sprinting. Runhappy won the King's Bishop in a brilliant campaign that concluded with a victory in the Breeders' Cup Classic. And now standing for stud for 25,000 at Claiborne Farm. We're going to take a break in the action. We'll be back. We'll talk opening day. 2-year-old fillies in the Schuylerville. 3-year-olds sprinting on the turf. And the quick call, it's only a week away.
Nominate now for the Thoroughbred Industry Employee Award.
Nomina hoy para los premios para los empleados que trabajan con caballos.
What are you waiting for? Why haven't you nominated yet?
Warfront, a leading sire on all surfaces and all fronts. His recent Grade 1 winners include Omaha Beach, Homesman, Fog of War, Lancaster Bomber, and European champion U.S. Navy flag. Plus Preakness Stakes winner War of Will. And these recent group and graded winners. Sire of the highest price yearling sold in North America in 2018, this son of Danzig continues to dominate both on the track and in the sales ring. Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Tom Durkin letting you know New York breds start with an advantage. At the sales, buyers pay up to 7 figures, and there's over $2 million in stakes money limited to New York sired horses in the New York Stallion Stakes Series, like the Park Avenue for 3-year-old fillies.
Newly minted wins it for fun.
For fun and money. The winner's share generates an additional $55,000 from the New York Breeding Fund.
Funny Guy's gonna do it.
Funny Guys winning the Times Square division generates the same money. So get with the program at nybreds.com.
This is a Runhappy colt out of the mare Proud Dame. He's a very nice colt, great mover, wonderful mind, just does everything we ask him to do. The best thing I like about him is he's no trouble. You can handle him, you can bathe him, you can hand walk him. He's just a very mentally stable horse for a thoroughbred. The Proud Dame colt will be going to the Fayetteville July sale. We have high hopes for him.
Runhappy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Next Thursday, it's opening day at that historic racetrack at Saratoga. And the opening day feature, the Grade 3 Schuylerville for 2-year-old fillies. Of course, we're going to see Voodoo Song back in action in the Forbidden Apple on Friday. And just tremendous racing right off the bat as we start a week earlier than usual.
And we'll be drawing the card opening day on Saturday and drawing Friday's card on Sunday for people who want to get a head start.
Well, one of the great closers in the history of all of baseball, Mo Rivera, is going to be on hand signing autographs. The Yankee great on Friday, July 12th. I didn't realize it's the first player ever to be unanimously inducted in the Hall of Fame. That's amazing.
I have an important question. Paul, how did you do against him?
2 for 3 lifetime against him.
Seriously?
I faced him 3 times, and I actually got a hit off him in the All-Star game. A lot of people take offense to that, actually, because they don't think a closer should have ever, gotten to the Hall of Fame and then be the only unanimous guy when you have so many other guys. But, myself being a guy that grew up a Met fan and didn't really love the Yankees, knowing Mo as a person was could have been the most classiest guy in the league besides Derek Jeter, his teammate. What he did off the field was unbelievable. And what he did in the postseason will never, ever be matched. His ERA is under like 0.5. So if you want to put postseason into the Hall of Fame, he's the best ever.
And he only really had 2 pitches, right?
He had 1 pitch. And a lot of people always talk about he threw a cutter. Well, it naturally cut. It would cut sometimes this much. It would cut sometimes this much. Sometimes it wouldn't cut. But he was like, here it is, have it. But he had the perfect temperament here for New York, and he was a perfect gentleman, just the way he carried himself.
And how many years did he keep it up? I mean, it's not just,
it's
not like he ever...
That was the other part about it, Andy. You bring up great questions. John Wetland, when he first came,
he was the closer.
Yeah, sure. Mariano was the setup guy. He sat there, waited his turn, and then took control. But he never had that down season. He was so consistent. And sometimes longevity gets lost in a lot of things, and I think it got lost in the Bill Buckner thing. Because Bill Buckner, when he passed away, there was a lot of stuff that said, the ball went through his legs. I think a lot of people realize that he's pretty close to being a Hall of Famer. So that's, I think, with Mariano Rivera, he should get credit also for the longevity and how long he did it for.
Chance to get his autograph. That happens on day 2 of the meet at Saratoga on that Friday afternoon, July the 12th. Well, one of the great closers in all of baseball, and now a story on maybe the best finisher in all of horse racing. That is Joel Rosario. Some of the biggest wins in his career: Kentucky Derby with Orb and a Dubai World Cup in the very same season with Animal Kingdom. He is one of the best there is in the game.
I am Joel Rosario. I am a jockey. Growing up in the Dominican Republic, since I was a little kid, I don't know much, before about horse racing. First one is when I started, when I was an apprentice. I have a record of more than a professional jockey. Winning my first race, I started winning right away a lot of races, and I was leading right after that, like 4 years in the Dominican Republic. It was hard, in the beginning for a little bit. So I came here, nobody knew who I was, and came here over here, and then, a lot of people, they don't know they have a horse racing in the Dominican Republic. I remember he was one of the favorite. I know the horses have a good chance to probably to win the race, but you never know until you go and run and try.
Gates fly. They're racing in the Dubai World Cup. The Animal Kingdom out wide.
That was a very cool experience for me.
Animal Kingdom leads. Animal Kingdom 3 lengths in front of Red Cadeau, and Animal Kingdom wins the Dubai World Cup in a US-Australia combination.
Coming from Dubai, like it was like a month after that. Then I remember I was doing very well in Keeneland. I win the meet, and then I went to the Derby where the horse who has the chance to win the race too.
Orb is coming with giant strides in the center of the track.
It was a very special moment.
Down to the wire. Orb has won the Kentucky Derby.
I went in the Dubai World Cup and winning the Kentucky Derby. After that, in less than 2 months, just amazing feeling, and just everything changed, you know what I mean? And then just my kid to see, oh, my daddy win the Kentucky Derby, very emotional, you know. Dominican Republic, everybody want to play baseball. I think after winning the Kentucky Derby, a lot of people know more about horse racing. You know, even the president of the Dominican Republic congratulated me, you know, like I'm a jockey, so I want to the people know, you know, about the horse racing too, and then how it is, and you know, it's a great sport. And I was the first Dominican jockey to win the Kentucky Derby, so it was very even more special for me.
He is such a tremendous talent, and when he's on his game, there might not be anybody better right now. Certainly no one you want to see coming from behind or fear more.
And we're so spoiled here by the riding colony. You know, you take for granted how great these riders are here. And Joel can ride with anybody in the game as far as I'm concerned.
He's on that roll too right now. It really is. And like I said before, a lot of people forget he was on some kind of roll when Animal Kingdom won the World Cup, and then he got that bad injury. Now it seems like it's starting to come around, and look at the jockey standings. Jose Lezcano had this giant lead. Luis Saez, who got taken down, or he'd have 41 wins, is starting to really tighten up here. And we got 5 guys in the hunt now.
Yeah. What are they doing in the last race? Is there anybody that can? Jose's trying to hold on for dear life. He opened up a huge lead, and it's down to a half length at the 8th hole.
It's going to be a fun final 4 days of the meet here from that perspective. Let's get a paddock report. We're going to head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
Thanks, Greg. And we'll check in with your current favorite. First off the claim for Linda Rice is number 6, Talent Scout. Now, he's kind of second off of that long layoff, and he was a horse who showed a lot of promise previously for Bob Baffert in his debut. And he got pretty tired, I would have to say, coming off that layoff for Joe Sharp last time out at Keeneland. You could see he was very late in switching leads. He just looked as though he was laboring down the lane. Now, Linda picks him up and immediately drops him from the 50 to the 16. Linda does this, it's not typically a good sign. Now, here in the paddock, this horse is very sharp and alert. He's well muscled, he's solid. He's a smaller, compact, stockier type of horse. So going the 6 furlongs is probably ideal. I would think lesser distance is better with him. It's just, can he still run? I don't know. Linda, I just get really skeptical when she drops horses like this. Now, coming off of an extended layoff is number 5. Hey, it's Enrico Palazzo as he returns as a new gelding. And talk about gelding kind of transforming a horse's mentality. It's certainly done that. He was a horse who get really fired up and expend way too much energy pre-race. And yeah, he's gotten on his toes just now with the rider about to be up, but that's the first sign he's shown of being lively here. He's been very relaxed, which I like for him, and he does look pretty fit here for Gary Gullo. So that's a long layoff to overcome, but if he's feeling good, if he's doing well, this is not the toughest field. Greg?
Yeah, I don't know. It felt like this race, almost anyone you could make a case for, because there's...
I know.
If Talent Scout doesn't run with the massive drop down, which is a red flag anyway, who knows what happens.
Right.
Here.
I mean, you look through and you say, well, Busted Mach 4, 3. He's not. I got a bad trainer stat for him, and his maiden one was not against a good field. Remston, I guess, could win the 4, but I picked, hey, it's Enrique Palazzo. Who knows? We'll get from him off a year-plus layoff. Who knows if Talent Scout... We know one thing. Talent Scout can't run like this anymore, and I think it shows you how hard the game is, right?
This is when he was with Bob Baffert. It was his debut, October 2017. Santa Anita and letting everybody know this is a serious runner.
And you're thinking, if you have owned this horse, right, Bob Baffert, you're thinking, I could have a horse that's going to be in big stakes this year and next year. He doesn't run again for a year and over a year and a half. He shows up in a $50,000 claimer. He runs poorly. He gets claimed, and now he's in for $16,000. I mean, sometimes it works out, but more often than not, it's tough. Now, Linda Rice has huge numbers. You see that, 7 for 14, dropping down substantially off a claim. The problem is the $1.73 ROI. So you're talking about horses that are 3 to 5, and they're not winning. You got to win over 50% with 3 to 5 shots. So the stats are there, but I just think this horse, and he's not going to be 2 to 1. It's a very, very dicey proposition.
In the 5, hey, it's Enrique Palazzo, did not sing the national anthem. For today's card. A bunch of bombs in the air.
No, he did not. Thank God. Here's Call the Cat to kick things off. Dylan Davis, Gary Siaka.
He ran okay last time out and just behind the 4 Remston, but overall his record is somewhat dismal.
31 to 1 on this horse right here. Won't be missed. Blinkers come off James Ferraro.
That's probably a little light. Might should
turn
be
back.
311 to 1.
Big turn back here, Paul.
Bustin' Mach 4, so 5 to 2 on this horse. At third time out, gets a maiden breaking score in the big drop in class.
Yeah, 35 cents a dollar. He won by 6 1/4 lengths, but he still only ran a 57 buyer, and believe it or not, he's running against tougher here.
Remston, Gary Contessa, Eric Consell missed by a neck in a similar spot last out.
He's got back class, I guess, that can win this. His last race, he just missed, and he's getting 6 to 1 today.
Hey, it's Enrico Palazzo, and here's a horse who won. First time out, recently gelded, been off for over a year.
I guessed with this one as a new gelding because I'm a Gary Gullo fan. I thought of the horses that could win, he would be the biggest price. That's all.
Talent Scout, here's the horse who was so brilliant in the debut, and then the comeback in for 50 non-winners of 2, now another big drop.
Yeah, a real unknown. I think the key is Irad gets aboard.
Quest for Fire at 3 to 1. Here's another one who they had massive expectations off. He put up a 92 buyer in his debut.
Right, and he doesn't come back for 9 months after that, and you see what happened to him. And he's got to deal with Enrique Palazzo up front, which may soften him up late.
And Our American Star, 20 to 1, rounds out the field. 1 for 34 lifetime.
This is the horse I'm going to call runs 4th, 3rd or 4th, like swallows up that 4th position for your super.
7 minutes away from our finale on the card. Coming up, Michelle Nevin sending out this one, Bustin' Mach 4. Jose Ortiz, 5 to 2 on the board right now. The finale here on this Wednesday afternoon at Belmont Park. Coming up when we return. Stay with us.
This Runhappy colt is a very precocious, good walking, balanced colt. Correct. But overall, I love his physique, his demeanor, and his balance, and his attitude. He's a very lovely colt. I see a lot of similarity of the stallion. I'm excited to be selling this horse. I haven't seen any other Runhappies, but if they all look like him, I know they're going to sell well.
Runhappy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and NYRA Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With NYRA Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the NYRA Bets app or visit NYRABets.com. Sign up at NYRABets.com for a new member bonus.
Kentucky Derby winner Orb. On the track, his runners have scored on both dirt and turf, including multiple stakes winner Autumn Warrior and Sipacan Harbor, winner of the Grade 1 Spinaway Stakes at Saratoga. On the track, Orb continues to add winners. And in the sales rate, his 2-year-olds have sold up to $250,000 in 2019. Classic winner, classic pedigree, or standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races. Our finale coming up. Get signed up, started, and bet $200. You'll get a $200 new member bonus in your account. Use the promo code LIVE at sign up. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime with NYRA Bets. Go to NYRABets.com. Play Saratoga all meet long. As we take a look here, Bustin' Mach 4. So this was the Michelle Nevin runner we saw as we went to break. Son of Bustin' Stones. They actually debuted this horse Ran third, first time out against, that was New York bred Maiden Special. Liked that performance so much they put him in a stakes race start number 2, and then was off for almost a year.
Yeah, that's the worry, right? But tremendous effort here. He's wandering all over the place. Maybe we can understand why, but is he the horse that you want to bet here? That's the problem.
Well, came back.
You know, I mean, like, the efforts are good. The second, okay, the race 2 back, does that win this race, Greg?
Well, you can't say that he's even the same horse as 2 starts back, because he went to the bench with injury, and obviously he's not the same horse, and they dropped him back down in class. So as we take a look at what Michelle Nevin did.
But when you win by that many open lengths, you win by 7, then the stat comes up and pops up, and you see 6%.
Yeah, it's a very, leave it up if we can for a second, it's a very specific stat. This is a horse in a claiming race off a maiden win in a dirt sprint. For a trainer, Michelle Nevin, who in my opinion is one of the best trainers of the grounds, and she has just no success, which suggests they don't improve. And wouldn't you agree this horse has to improve to win off that race?
Yeah. The problem also, too, she's only faced, 14 other rivals in her starts. 17 horses, you know. So she hasn't in her last, in her 3 starts, yeah.
Well, she's doubling that here.
Yeah.
Or 50% higher, right?
Yeah,
may not have to improve a whole lot, though.
No, listen, I'm not saying she can't win. I wouldn't, I'll be honest with you. If you told me I'm going to take a shot and bet won't be missed at 40-1 and a turn back, I wouldn't tell you you're crazy. In this race, I could see anything happening.
Yeah. Now, for more, let's check in again with Maggie.
Yeah, it could get a little weird here in the last race, that's for sure, and a horse that I don't like on paper much, but I just kept going back to, and that's Remston, who is 4th off of that very, very long layoff. Now, when he came back in May, he just looked weak. He just looked weak across the top line, and that's something that horses gain when they race, and he's raced quite frequently. Given that layoff, I mean, obviously, whatever issue he had, it seems to have cured itself, because furthermore, I love the way he warmed up. He moved beautifully over the track beneath Eric Consell. Like I said, I don't really like him on paper, I'll be honest, but he was a horse who had a lot of promise as a youngster, and is there some reason he could recapture a little bit of that glory? Possibly. It's a weird race. He's just one that has really gotten stronger now with that 4th start off the bench, guys.
Been in the money in 5 of 8 starts. A little cold on the board off one of his better efforts.
Very cold on the board, right?
Yeah.
And he had the lead in the stretch. He got run down.
I know. That was a painful one for you, Greg, as I recall. Do you remember? That was the first leg of a pick 5. I think you and I were here discussing it. He should have won that day, right? The favorite didn't show up.
Try and block those days out.
Oh, wow.
That's what I'm here. That's what I'm particularly good at, Greg, reminding you of those days.
Still in Davis, as you can see, off his mount, and they're going to blindfold Call the Cat, which this starting gates cruise around the country can use sometimes to help get in horses who don't like that tight space.
Yeah, you could see his last race. It says hard to load. He's had bobble start a couple times, stumbled start. So they know that the Gary Siaka runner can act up every once in a while. So let's try to make sure we get him in the gate nice and easy, and it looks like the rest of the crew's following suit.
All right, favorite will be the 6 here, Talent Scout. At one time was highly thought of, but a different horse now. Can he break through, get a second win of his career for Linda Rice off the claim? We're going to find out here in the nightcap. Coming up, let's go upstairs to the voice of New York Racing for the call. Here's Larry Collmus.
For Remston and our American Star. They're all in line. They're off. Awkward beginning there for Remston and Bustin Mach 4. Left at the back of the pack. Hey, it's Enrico Palazzo, who goes out to the early lead with Quest for Fire on the outside, flashing some early foot. And then it's Call the Cat, followed by Talent Scout. Bustin Mach 4 and Remston moving together after checking at the break, and they're 5 lengths off the lead. Won't be missed at the back of the pack with the trailer Our American Star. A half mile to go. It is Quest for Fire on the outside. Hey, it's Enrico Palazzo along the rail. A 23 flat opening quarter mile. The two of them are matching strides up front. A break of 2 to Remston on the outside of Talent Scout, then Call the Cat toward the inside, followed by Bustin Mach 4. They're coming toward the top of the stretch here, and Quest for Fire is the one to catch. Hey, it's Enrico Palazzo has cut the corner, and these two are now right together up front. Remston comes up to them. Call the Cat's trying to squeeze through on the inside. Then comes Talent Scout. There's a furlong to run. Remston has rushed up on the outside. Call the Cat is closing through at the rail. Quest for Fire is third between those two. Hey, it's Enrico Palazzo is given way. It's Remston and Call the Cat. Remston and Call the Cat. Call the Cat. Remston down to the wire. Head bobbing finish. Remston or Call the Cat together on the wire. And then Quest for Fire and hey, it's Enrico Palazzo.
Remston all out to try and hold off a 16-1 shot on the rail, and I think he just barely did.
Yeah, he did. He made that wide swoop, sat in a good spot, and nice ride on the inside by Dylan Davis, but even having that cut in the corner did not help as Remston ground out the victory. The two favorites, the number 3, Paul, badly left the start, busted Mach 4, and no effort at all for the ultimate. How about the second choice? The 6 wasn't even favored, Paul.
Yeah, I know, and you get down to the bob here between the 4 and the 1 at 16-1. The 1 really fought back here. He's going to need the bob of his life because I don't think physically he got the bob of his life. Wow.
Ooh, he still lost,
wow.
didn't he?
Wow. Physically, the 4's in front. The 1 got the bob of all bobs,
You're right about
and that's going to be very, very tight.
Do we have the slow-mo? Do we have the super slow-mo by any
Difference,
chance?
by the way, in the pick 5 to the 1, 19,912. To Remston, 5,932.
Wow. See if we can get anything at this low-level shot because the 4 is physically in front.
This is not a good angle, to be honest, guys. I don't really think you're going to be able to tell from this.
1.
Nah, it's a bad angle, so I'm not going to. Just can't use it.
We'll play it out. We'll get another angle in a moment here. It's just, wow.
But here's the thing. The tape comes right now on the next one, and it's like, boom, on the tape. Oh, but the 4, I think Andy's right.
I don't think he ever got in front.
I still don't think he's in front. He got the bob, but I still don't think he was in front.
Here it is again, Andy, on the pan.
It's up.
Yeah, you're right. The 4 was just physically in front. God, the bob made it look closer than it was. Well, it's probably really close, but good job by Eric Hensel.
Wow, look at the $14,000 difference for a whisker. Remston put up 4-1 over 16-1, 4-1-7-5.
That would have been a brutal beat.
And Remston up for the victory. Let's go back to the beginning, though, and take a look at the start. From
yeah,
the
watch
here,
the 3.
Busted Mach 4 stumbles.
Yeah, and this was going to be part of the early pace and just went back really down to her knees and then his knees, and then try to get into the race. You see Jose. What I do love about Jose, he doesn't really panic, got the horse in the clear, and then try to make a run, but you can't have any punch after that start.
Friend of mine just texted me, needed the 1 in the pick 4.
Wow, that's a bad beat. Even with the bob, is it a bad beat?
It's a tough beat. It's
not
he got all the best of it, but it's still it's an inch for a lot of money.
It's a nice little super, by the way. Look at that. That is, I'm looking over here, but I mean, it's an inch. And physically, the 4 is so far in front, almost like half a side, but the 1 just got such the best bob to give everybody some hope.
If you have that horse and coming up the short side on the rail, you got to feel pretty good. But, Eric Hensel, good job finishing here on Remston. $10.20. And this 5-year-old son of, we've seen a few, including the first-time Turf Frost Giant win.
I think that might have
kind of jump-started things for that
sire.
Yeah,
jump-started things for Frost Giant. Look at the late pick 5, $5,900. We have a pick 6 carryover of $28,000 into a very good card tomorrow of 9 races. Last race will go off at 5:51, and there it is. Listen, I know Miss Pepina, but Andy talked about Miss Pepina being live and in a tough race. Dixie Twister should have never been 7-1.
Yeah.
Other than that, that is a great
Dixie
pick.
Twister was 7-2 morning line. Lou Cullen, if not for the layoff, probably would have been 4-5.
Yeah, somewhere
I couldn't have hit this pick 5 for 3,000, I don't think.
Meanwhile, the early one paid $45,000, just in case you missed.
Pick 5 was a good play today. We're going to take a break. We'll be back. More coming up on America's Day at the Races. Stay tuned.
It's America's original sport. And no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle. The best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Mastery retired undefeated, winning his 4 starts by a combined 20 lengths. A 6-figure September sale purchase. He won impressively in his 2-year-old debut at Santa Anita. From there, he captured the Grade 3 Bob Hope Stakes and completed his juvenile campaign with a dominant performance in the Grade 1 Los Alamitos Futurity. At 3, the top-rated son of Candy Ride sizzled in the San Felipe. Now his much-anticipated first crop has arrived. Mastery, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and NYRA Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With NYRA Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the NYRA Bets app or visit NYRABets.com. Sign up now for a $200 new member bonus with promo code LIVE at NYRABets.com.
She's a very elegant, beautiful mover, has a great shoulder, pretty walk, and a real strong hind leg. Being by Runhappy, that's just even better, because he was such a racehorse. And they say he ran drug-free, and that's a great thing in our business, and I just hope that she can be a runner for somebody.
Runhappy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Hey guys, Megan Devine hanging out with America's Best Racing here at Woodbine Racetrack, where they're unveiling the brand new inner turf course. It's 7 furlongs, which is just a little bit less than a mile, and made of Kentucky bluegrass. Now, all kinds of races are going to be held over this new inner turf course, from distances of 5 furlongs all the way until 1.5 miles. The home stretch is 978 feet, which is about 2.7 football fields, just to give you some reference. We're looking forward to great racing on the new inner turf course, just one of the latest innovations at Woodbine Racetrack.
Well, you can see more great videos on americasbestracing.net. Catch it all there online as we are in the books on this Wednesday afternoon. We had a thriller in the finale. Let's take a look at the showdown standings and see who came up with, wow, Blondie 54 creating $671.
The Grim Reaper's lurking,
good
too.
albums, too, Blondie, and
the Grim Reaper.
Is that your pen name, Polly?
The Grim Reaper?
Yeah.
No, I'm RP Indy.
No, he's the Grim Reaper's following Paul.
This Friday, I should say, Grade 3 Victory Ride feature race coming up, 6.5 furlongs for 3-year-old fillies, and making her return, a 3-year-old filly who we saw win the Adirondack at Saratoga last summer, started out her career 2 for 2 for Jeremiah Englehart.
She ran very, very well in this race, and she got a terrific ride, but, you know, break even, especially going 6 furlongs, is really about as fast a 3-year-old filly as we have in the country. And she gave her all she could handle. This was an excellent effort and a real step up for a horse that showed promise, a 2-year-old winning the Adirondack. And she beat an okay field in her return race, but this was a huge step forward. And if she runs back to that race, this field's in trouble. That's the question, though. Can she run back to it? This is a tough field, small but select.
Well, she's on the outside here. This was a work on Saturday, 4 furlongs, 51 flat.
See, I thought that was 51.3. You know, I was counting, Greg. I don't.
Third off the layoff coming up on Friday for her, and it might just be that she is coming into her best yet.
Well, listen, she's fit. She doesn't need anything else more than this. And Jeremiah is not the kind of guy that works his horses very fast at all. And if you look, he wants them to be race ready. And here's the other thing, Andy. She comes off a 97 buyer, so he's worried maybe a tiny bit that she might regress. So let's not go too fast.
And listen,
I want to thank XB TV, by the way, for providing us that footage. You can go there, xbtv.com, find more workout coverage.
And everybody in here is looking to run well enough to run the test. And this year's test, as we've talked about, is going to be as tough a one as we've seen in years. And it's always a tough race, but Royal Charlotte, Chad Brown, undefeated on the rail. Yeah. Cookie Dough cutting back. She was involved in that wicked pace last time. And Brill, who's also cutting back in distance and probably could use the cutback. Like I said, small field, but this is a very strong race.
Yeah. By the way, you know what tomorrow is, right?
It's July 4th, my friend.
Yes, it is. We're going to have some fireworks here on the racetrack. We have a very good card. Looking forward to it.
Sure, the horses are going to love that.
It is a good card.
I don't think they mind the fireworks, actually. They're back in the barn by then.
Yeah.
I mind them. They were like so loud outside my apartment in the city the other night. It was incredible.
We will see.
I didn't even look out the window. I didn't even get off. I didn't even get off the couch.
Fox
Look out
Sports
the
2
window.
at 1:30 on the 4th of July. Spend it with us. MSG Plus, Fox Sports Prime ticket, San Diego. We'll see you at 4.